Hello, 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 everyone. I am here with Alpha Omega Sin, Armored Skeptic, and Anthony Fantano, and we are going to be watching. Well, you know what we're going to be watching. How's it going, guys?
Yo, what up?
I just noticed that all of our names start with A, so I'm just pointing that out. There you go. That's all. That's all I had to add to the conversation. Go me.
This is a AAA stream.
Yeah. And then it went down a couple points when Alpha started to speak. Goddamn.
Don't
Right,
worry,
okay.
I'll pick it up. I'll pick up the slack, the quality slack.
I appreciate that. It is going to be necessary.
Yeah, you guys do that. I'm pouring myself some brandy at the moment, so.
Oh, well, aren't we fucking fancy? I think
Yes.
I had a bottle of water. First it's cigars, then brandy. What the fuck?
Yeah, I only have scotch.
I'm pretty fucking bourgeois. I'm not gonna lie.
Everybody I have a cat. My cat's beside me. There we go. My cat left because I said cat real loud. God damn it! I have nothing now.
I am so sorry.
Oh yeah, you guys were asking X-Files. Yes, you should definitely watch the new X-Files. So,
Yeah.
assuming that you're a fan of the old episodes, if
Loved
you're not,
it.
I don't know why the fuck you'd watch the new ones.
Yeah, loved the old ones. Loved it. What are they like? What the new ones like?
I mean, I've only gotten to see episode 1. I know that episode 2 is apparently out, and me DVRing things is a pain in the ass, so I just go to Fox's website. But they're now kind of doing this whole thing where they're saying, alrighty, well, everything was a complete and utter fucking lie, and let's try to go and update everything. All the while, we need to get people up to date who don't know anything about X-Files, so they're trying to do a whole lot within a short time span. And this is more like one big mega episode because it's just episode 1 of 6. So I need to see more to get a full, honest-to-goodness opinion.
Right, okay. Because one of the things that I really thought about the original X-Files series is it had this kind of magic about it. You know, there was just something about the way Mulder was with Scully and just the whole dynamic of all the characters that were going on. It's one of those things that I always figure that, like, you know, if they took a big break, they'd probably ruin the dynamic just through time.
And do you know what I think is that we're supposed to be making a stream about butts.
That's a good point. I should
I mean, we could talk about Gillian Anderson's butt. I'm okay with that. Any day of the week. That's just fine.
Okay, then. Well, let's
Maybe in the 90s.
I don't know,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
I'm at that point. Her and Elvira, they go right on the list. I got to get that notch in the post.
Man,
I'm excited. I haven't seen this yet. So what do we got here, Sargon?
this is this is Anita Sarkeesian's latest bowel movement that she's decided to put on the internet. I mean, I guess she's kind of
saving that one, weren't you? You were saving that one.
No, not really. I guess she's contractually obliged to continue to take shits onto the internet. So,
Oh man, finally, so we get to see where all that money went. Ooh, this is gonna be good then.
well, okay, well, let's get on with it.
Well, handsome, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, that was the
wasn't
least
ever
compelling intro, isn't it? Like, you could have chosen anything there, Anita. Just anything.
It doesn't exactly bring the point she's about to make home. I mean, even though Catwoman's butt was in that frame, I wouldn't exactly say it was center frame. I was kind of more focused on her face because she was talking, and I was kind of focused on the fact her and Batman were about to go walk somewhere.
You know what, though?
What?
I have played that game, and her butt is center frame quite often. So let's see.
Like when you're playing as her, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's because she's the character. She should be at the center of the fucking screen.
That's misogyny. How dare you? Get off my stream.
If you want,
Before she even goes on, this is a pressing topic, isn't it? Strategic butt coverings. You know, I mean, is there a point in your career, Anita, that you're going to think, am I reaching a nadir here? You know, am I at a low point where maybe I should change topics and focus on something important?
I feel like she's almost at a point where she's just like, trying to dig so hard for something to talk about in regards to sexism in video games. Like, I feel like I feel like given the market for a lot of these games, and given that a lot of these games are created and designed by men, are there going to be sort of trends that show up that reflect their sexual preferences and fantasies? I mean, most likely, especially if those games are allowed to be consumed by people who are sort of in that 16 to 20-something demographic. However, she hasn't really made the case for why that's wrong. Or why that's a bad thing, or why that's something that we should avoid or be offended by or critique.
The thing is, when you come out openly and just say that you hate men, it kind of puts people off what you're doing. Not just because it's men, just it's more the hatred rather than the man hating itself. But yeah, I mean, what possible excuse could she have other than I hate men? Seriously,
not really sure, you know. And the thing is, now I feel like she's kind of beaten this horse so far to death that she's talking about something that's just so I don't know. It just seems like ridiculous that she'd center in on something so silly and kind of trivial.
Okay, so just a quick jump in. Someone on Twitter, Jeff Holiday on Twitter, is asking us for a hashtag that they can tweet funny images at us from. He's already tweeted one at me. So what hashtag are you going to use? What, Anita's butt? Something like that?
I think
Anita's bowel movement.
No.
Just
ass frequency.
Yeah, okay.
Or feminass frequency.
Yeah.
No, just ass frequency is nice and easy.
Yeah.
So there we go. Ass frequency, right. Let's start as we mean to go on.
Nice and easy.
Set the tone.
I get to know a character, learn about their interests, goals, or desires. Their butt is probably not going to give you that information. It won't tell you much about who they are or what they're thinking or feeling at any given time.
That's little what you think, Anita.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite quotes from this video. Like, and I'm someone who actually adores the female rear end quite a bit. But as much as I have enjoyed its aesthetics over the years, it's never been something that I've tried to draw significant meaning out of.
Listen, right, I think that she's really missing a trick here, because give me unfettered access to a woman's ass, and I can tell you a lot about that woman.
I guess there are some women who I could tell if I look at their ass that they have ass injections.
She is essentially saying here, though, that aesthetics are irrelevant in a game, and that's kind of a bold statement.
That's a ridiculous statement, but seriously, it's as if, honestly, you could find out a lot about a person from their arsehole. Seriously.
I'll keep that in mind.
I feel like you've taken it a step further. We were talking about asses, and now you're talking about assholes.
Yeah, well, look, I'm talking about the whole region, really, and you know, there's a lot of psychology that goes into someone's rear end. Okay, I'm enjoying this too much
already. I suppose
already.
it can. I'm not saying a butt can never tell you anything. I mean, especially if someone's laid a tramp stamp right above it.
If you ask any TSA worker, they will definitely be able to give you a lot of stories.
Some of the chat's like,
to take into account.
Yeah, I'm sure they find plenty of things inside of people's asses.
exactly.
Well,
See,
Well, between the TSA and plenty of doctors out there, the amount of people that just say, "Oh no, I slipped and fell on it," those poor bastards. So yeah, that's always riveting tale. No pun intended.
But video game designers often choose to put tremendous focus on the butts of certain characters, while going to almost absurd lengths to avoid calling attention to the butts of others.
yeah, it's a conspiracy.
I don't see how that picture would be an example of an absurd length to cover his butt. I mean, it seems more like he's going to an absurd length to cover his face.
I just love the fact that it's the way she frames it, though. It's like she's talking about the Illuminati or something. Like there is literally like people actually like consciously thinking, you know, I need to cover that guy's ass up.
It's the male butt cover
Basically.
conspiracy.
I just don't. I mean, why do you make it sound like there's a conspiracy going on, Anita? Why are you so accusatory? You know, you don't sound like you're just observing something.
If anything, can we just start referring to it as the Illuminati? Since we're just talking about asses, digital asses within the video game landscape, and that's apparently like the most important thing right now is that video games on the brink of extinction, and everybody should know that asses are suddenly like the most important thing to focus on. And like when I heard about this, I just kept on getting images of Voldo from the Soul Calibur series going through my head. And that right there, that's, oh boy.
Someone tweeted at me, Sargon thinks the ass is the window to the soul. And I'm like, well, that's true.
It is technically a window of sorts.
It's a portal, isn't it?
So is Anita arguing here that it's typical for these trench coats to cover these men's asses in games? Is it typical for a man's ass to not be seen in a game? Because I'm not sure that that's true.
I mean, you could see the butts of the three main protagonists in the new Grand Theft Auto video games, so, right. I mean, there's pretty much a glaring example of a very popular game where you can see people's butts. I'm sure when you're playing
some games, and I can't think of one third-person game that I own where you can't see a close-up of the protagonist's ass.
I mean, I'm pretty sure when you're playing, like, Call of Duty or something like that, you could probably see all the asses of the people that you're supposed to be firing at.
Oh, and not just that, but it's also important to point out that she kept on saying that the woman's ass is dead center, and that's where you focus. Well, that's kind of the center of the human body, so we can go, like, well, let's check out this person's anatomy. Oh, wait, all these male video game characters, same exact thing. Nobody's been batting an eye at all. No one's had an issue, but Feminist Frequency needed to make an entire video about polygonal behind.
Well, someone tweeted me to let us know that this guy is actually a terrorist, which is why he's wearing a long coat. I don't know who this character is, but he's apparently a terrorist.
He's a terrorist, and because he's trying to hide his identity, he has to cover his ass so Sargon can't recognize his anus.
He doesn't want to be recognized by his face or
well, look, it's not just me, man. It is. Look, I'm not going to deny it's a specialized skill, but I'm not the only person with it. I'm not like some sort of arse-based superhero. Anyone can learn these techniques. You know, it's just bend over and I'll teach you.
I'm imagining like a spam advertisement on the internet with a picture of Sargon's face and it says proctologists hate him. With one easy trick, he learned how to identify all the asses.
He's an idiot savant. His only skill is anus recognition.
Look, I'm just the ass whisperer, okay? I can just give me an ass and I can tell you everything about the owner from that ass.
Sargon's a cyborg from the future, and before they sent him back in time, he was installed with special anus recognition software.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I didn't want to...
sort of like a Terminator 2 like interface, and there's like all these squares sort of like circling in on asses, and like all these readings are coming down, giving him information about people's personal lives. He looks at an ass and he sees like their bank account number and stuff.
Basically, wear a trench coat. That's all I'm saying. Just wear a fucking trench coat. It's for your own good.
These carefully crafted choices developers make about camera angles and clothing significantly impact how players think about and relate to these characters. Third-person games with female protagonists typically...
How the fuck does she know what I think? Honestly, how does she know what anyone else thinks? I mean, all she sounds like she's saying is that I have really weird thoughts about other people, well, digital arses. You know, she sounds like she's just talking about herself.
Yeah, she always is guilty of sort of taking a very far-reaching assumptions with how the consumer of this content is interpreting the content itself. I mean, this is sort of an extreme claim, I mean, a more extreme version of sort of the rabbit hole she's going down, but I mean, you could make the same assertion like people watch Transformers because they have a robot fetish. You know, they're just really turned on by...
Yeah. It actually is.
Cars into fighting mechanized warriors.
Yeah, it's literally like, look, Anita, you don't know who the people playing are, and you certainly clearly don't know what the motivations for gamers playing these games are, because you've never been one, so how would you fucking know? You know, come on.
I mean, not only that, but a lot of these games are super difficult, and in order to beat them, you couldn't just be continually ogling the main character's ass the whole time while you're playing. You'd actually have to pay attention to the environment around your character.
She would know that, right?
To make sure they're not getting shot or killed.
No, she wouldn't know that, because when she does Twitch streams, she always gets someone else to play the game for her, so she is just staring at the screen, and obviously in the center of the screen is an ass moving across, and this is where this idea has come from, I bet.
Which is kind of depressing when you think about it, because at least Conan O'Brien, when he does his series, he actually picks up the controller and plays. Granted, he plays very poorly, but he's at least funny. Yeah. And he's actually interacting with the goddamn piece of entertainment in front of him.
So what the take is from this is that when Anita watches other people play video games, the only thing she watches is the ass of the character on the screen.
Yeah, that's until she goes around and murders prostitutes and strippers.
Confirmed pervert.
Well, it's like you know what it is. It's like when you're driving a car, you're always looking left and right, and like you don't need to focus. But when you're a passenger, you tend to need to focus on things, otherwise you feel sick. And I think when you're watching somebody else play video games, you don't control what you're looking at, so it gives you motion sickness. The only thing that stays in the same place is the ass of the character. So she's probably staring at the ass to keep from getting motion sick.
So kind of like the camera is attached to the arse, and then the world moves around it, right?
Right.
It's only when you're a
Skeptic, can you turn your mic down about, like, I don't know, 10-15%, please? 'Cause you're a little bit too loud.
Cool.
But,
It's only when you're a passenger that you realize how problematic driving really is.
I tell you what, I was listening to Dan Carlin's podcast, and I absolutely adore Dan Carlin, but he kept using the word problematic today, and I was every time he'd say it, I'd be like, oh no, Dan, no, please stop. Just, just tell us what the actual issue with it is. Don't just say problematic, man.
Display those characters in a way that gives players a full body view. A classic example of this is the original Tomb Raider.
I knew she was going to bring this up.
Perspective, wherein protagonist Lara Croft's entire body is visible.
Man, guys, I mean, you just pause it right there. Doesn't that just get you rock hard?
Can we all like take a break while I bust at this?
Yeah, let me get some lotion or something. I mean, I'm just gonna mute my mic.
I am going to need a minute.
I liked back then, though, because at least in this era, whenever the camera turned to the side, you'd see that Laura's tits were literally just pyramids.
Oh yeah,
They
let's
were
see.
horrifying.
Let's see if
Tomb Raider
have you
games,
got.
Lara's butt is typically right
Hey,
in the center
I
of the
believe
screen.
Madonna was also rocking that look in the 90s, and it played pretty well back then, too.
Oh no, she had cone-shaped tits. These are just straight up triangles. These are roof shingles.
Yeah,
They
no,
are-
hang
they are
on,
something else.
I'll dig one up. Hang on, because it's just.
To be fair, back then, I mean, there was kids in middle school everywhere. This was the closest that they were getting to porn, unless they were on AOL dial-up, which...
Yeah, look.
Oh wait, there we go.
Seriously, look at those. They are edged weapons.
Oh my god, it's not even two, it's just one solid tit.
Yeah. It's like 4 polygons for the entire thing. It's just like it's the least sexy thing you've ever seen. Look at this.
But the thing
I
is,
like it because it
Dude,
looks like
have an eye
something
out.
that in Tony Hawk you could just grind across. And then,
Oh my god, grind.
Look at that, just.
because the front of her was not sort of centered in the screen, they clearly put less effort into her boobs. I mean, look at her butt. The butt is not a polygon. The butt is super smooth. The butt is smooth while the boobs are rigid.
See, I only see one demographic finding that attractive, and that's 10-year-olds who are starting to discover themselves. That's about it.
Even then, I mean, look at my
and
god.
at that point, just about anything is sexy.
Yeah, exactly.
It must have been. I mean, I remember back in the fucking 90s when Tomb Raider came out and everyone made a big deal of huge tits. I didn't really care because that's not why I played games. And, I was like 14 or something then. And looking back now, I'm just thinking, what was anyone making a big deal out of? I mean, honestly, how did anyone give a shit? Fuck me. Okay, let's fucking... Once we've all finished jerking it, we can carry on.
Yeah, I'm
Lara
done.
Croft's
That was
entire body
easy.
is
It was a
visible.
great image.
finished. I'm on my second round.
In these early Tomb Raider games, Lara's butt is typically right in the center of the screen. A camera orientation which, along with the sexualized clothing the designers choose to outfit her in, places a tremendous...
Sexualized clothing. Ah, yeah.
She's talking like it's a burlesque outfit or something. The fuck is she? It's just some fucking hiking gear, isn't it? Just... Oh, fuck me.
I believe there were like female... There were female characters in the Mortal Kombat series around this time that looked sexier than this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I think for video games, I mean, this look certainly was sexy for its time, but the thing is, I could really only take this argument seriously if somebody in 1996 was actually making it. It's fucking 2016.
I'm just staggered that anyone could...
It's current year.
Yeah.
It's current year.
Should we ask Justin Trudeau what he thinks of this? It's probably misogyny. That's tragic. But the thing is, these are she's literally got the sort of boobs you couldn't take on an airplane because they'd be considered dangerous weapons. And she's actually talking about Tomb Raider like anyone, like it's relevant. Like any woman has actually been horribly abused or molested or something like that because of Tomb Raider. I mean, fuck's sake.
Well, okay, look, 20 years ago in 1996, sexual crimes were up 100% upon the release of Tomb Raider. I don't know what you're talking about, but it was just going out of control. Yeah. And also the shooting of woodland creatures, that was up a whole bunch, as well as people dying due to in part to a bad camera angle. So that
also, I believe tomb raiding was up. Around that time as well. There was an awful lot of tomb raiding going on. And not only were people excited about the idea, but they were under the impression that once they started, a sexy, scantily clad woman armed with 2 pistols would be there in the tomb as well.
Yeah, also scraped knees were up. I don't know if that's related, though.
You know, I have a question about the a lot of people that make this current year argument. When people make this current year argument, are they sort of inadvertently saying that if they're specifically framing it in sort of like a sexist kind of like a misogynist sort of angle, are they trying to say that all the misogyny that happened prior to this year was okay just because it was the earlier year?
No, the blatant implication is that progress and progression is inherent with time and has nothing to do with human behavior. So it's like he's basically saying, as time progresses, we progress as a species. End of story. I don't need to explain it.
Which is ironic, given how they respond to like the right wing and Planned Parenthood, isn't it? Because
right.
the more they go along, the more they sort of chip away at that, I guess, and they're freaking out about it. It's like, oh my god, with the what was it? Was it Target? No, it wasn't Target. What was the fucking place who had to pay for their birth control?
Hobby Lobby?
Hobby Lobby, yeah, that was it. They only had to pay for like 16 out of 20 variants of birth control, and the feminists were freaking out about it. It's like, well, A, you've got 16, but B, you could just buy your own birth fucking control, couldn't you? I mean,
right.
I guess I'm a conservative now, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm worried you're going alt-right on me, man.
You know what, right? We laugh now, but in 10 years' time, they'll be the new feminists.
Yeah, I've been talking about that. You and I think we might be on the conservative side. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's just going to be the flip. In 10 years' time, it's just going to be flipped, I tell you. And, you know, when Donald Trump is emperor of the earth, and we're like, okay, we use the very last of our free speech rights to criticize the alt-right that have now taken over. The thing is, these are the sort of people who might actually take us out to a death camp, though, so just so you know. It's been nice serving with you guys.
Yeah, if this is the last time we speak, I love you, man.
In dozens of third-person games with playable female characters, the character's butt is brought to the forefront, and that's where the player's focus is directed. In Batman Arkham City, for example...
No, it's on the gameplay, you idiots! Why would the game want you to look at nothing but an arse while you're being shot at? Oh my god.
Instance, the player's gaze is drawn to...
Yeah, I'm inventing a new game. It's just going to get right to the point. It's called Ass with Pretty Colors Around It. It's half an hour of just an ass with pretty colors around it. It's going to sell like gangbusters.
I hope you guys are keeping an eye on my Twitter feed, because seriously, people are tweeting some awesome stuff at me, and every now and again I'm just retweeting them as hilarious pictures people have drawn.
There's probably a joke in there about, like, I don't know, making a game out of some kind of ass-oriented porn, and the joystick is already pre-installed into you.
An exaggerated hip sweat.
That's $1 million idea right there.
The ceremony. The sisterhood will never forgive me if I am late.
Oh yeah, this is a
not
popular...
enough ass in that shot.
Hold up, she's using Golden Axe Beast Rider as a fucking example. Holy shit.
It's a popular and relevant example. It's so relevant.
Okay, the subject matter of this was already digging at the bottom of the barrel, and then she was like, wait a minute, there's more barrels below this? Oh, fuck yeah. Let's go and find the worst of the worst. Fuck me running. This is... Oh, no. No.
She consistently references like some of the worst and most obscure and uninteresting, unpopular games.
Well, have you ever noticed? Well, have you noticed that recently, in the I don't know, last 6 months or so, that whenever SJWs refer to an East Sarkeesian, they usually preface it with something like, I don't agree with Anita Sarkeesian. I'm not a big fan of Anita Sarkeesian, but you shouldn't be nasty to her, blah, 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 blah. You know? They seem to be gradually distancing themselves from her, because I think they understand that she's actually fucking unhinged and knows nothing about gaming.
She knows nothing about asses and the popularity of the games that they're in, that's for damn sure.
But go on, okay, come on, Anita. Most relevant game of all time. Go on.
Golden Axe Beast Rider makes extremely sure that we notice the protagonist's butt just before we take control and start playing.
Oh, that's not
Here
even a
in
great
Tomb Raider-
ass. Come on. Come on.
I like the way that she set up all these shots as well, though. And like, apart from that previous one, you know, she's the one like zooming down to look up the character's rear end.
Yeah, you're obviously choosing this camera angle. And it's just sort of like the Grand Theft Auto argument. I mean, yeah, your character could be violent toward a woman, but your character could be violent toward anybody. That's sort of the open world nature of the game.
Yeah, and same with Hitman Absolution. You actually get penalised for killing the strippers, and yet Anita Sarkeesian goes and kills all the strippers anyway. It's like, I mean, you're not meant to do that, Anita. You know.
And then she complained about it, so it's she's just in there killing them all. Like, look what you're making me do! I'm so sorry. At least put a couple ones in there when you're done. Have some respect.
Yeah, she does make herself sound like an absolute lunatic, doesn't she?
I'm imagining Anita going out on a shooting spree and just saying that because she was allowed to buy the gun that she did it with, she's like, I'm being made to do this. I'm being made to do this. They forced me.
See, this is why guns should be illegal. God damn. Okay, I'm getting a hell of a lot of asses on my Twitter feed right now, and that's not a bad thing either.
No,
okay,
it's not a bad thing, but it's also interesting to point out she has to move the camera very drastically down to get these angles, which you can play. I don't even know how many fucking third-person shooters and first-person games that have third-person options where you can do the same exact thing and have a close-up of a dude's ass, or just swing the camera around and you're getting to know him quite well, just like, you know, as Sargon does with assholes.
Yeah, well, I can tell you a lot about this character. But I couldn't play the game like this. I mean, how are you going to aim?
I was just going to say, I would love to see Anita try to beat the game at this camera angle just to prove her really sharp point.
That's what I was going to say, is the game doesn't encourage you to play it this way. There's no benefit to this camera angle in the game at all.
In fact, it would actually be an active detriment to your playing experience.
Exactly.
Pretty much. I mean, this argument could only be making sense if, at this camera angle, you could still see your enemies and continue to battle them efficiently.
I really think that, if anything, she should just have a separate Kickstarter so that she can go in and have PC modders put a censor bar over every single ass in every single PC game, and then slowly make their way into all the ROMs, and they can be the Sarkeesian edition.
Oh, no, hang on. You could go better than that. You could make an app that could, you know, like your phone will scan for faces and put a box around the face. You could make an app that could scan for asses and put a black mark over them, and boobs as well.
See, scan for asses like your eyeball does.
Sargon, stop trying to get people to make you apps so you can find more anuses.
No, look, it's the only protection against me.
You're so transparent.
Look, I'm just trying to give people ways of protecting themselves from my ass-piercing abilities, okay?
Just look up your candid anus porn.
To say that Lara's butt is being emphasized would be putting it mildly.
Look, no! Her tits are being emphasized. She's Lara Croft, Anita. For the love of God.
Incredible. The carvings are clearly similar to early Germanic design, but this is far older than the 5th century.
And this happened...
Okay, I'm deeply disturbed by the historical inaccuracies there.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Tomb Raider that I hate, is that you don't actually learn anything about the cultures that you're stealing from. If anything, you probably find out misinformation about them.
Yeah. I mean, the Germans didn't have, like, a written alphabet, like... Did she say 5th century, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they had one before then. I'd have to check, but...
No.
I'm pretty sure they didn't.
No.
I feel a cultural appropriation argument coming on.
contrast the way that women's butts are emphasized with the sometimes absurd lengths taken to cover up or hide men's butts.
Oh my god! Again, men
Holy
only.
shit! I love that. I love that screenshot. I love that screenshot.
I like to think that's the face she makes when she's looking at all of the polygon asses out there. She just busts out a face like that. Then we get to really truly know what she's thinking.
You gotta, guys on Twitter, girls on Twitter, hashtag us pictures of close-ups of the men's asses in video games.
Yeah.
We know this is a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, use hashtag ass frequency, please.
Oh, and get the one of Super Mario 64, because you see Mario's ass the whole time, all one polygon of it that's connected to the other crudely shaped polygon. Love the game, ugly as fuck for the characters and shit, but, you know, for the era. Mario didn't have triangle tits, so I guess that's kind of good.
That's true.
Plus, harking back to her old video, she does kiss Mario at the end of the game, too.
That whore.
I bet she was forced into doing that.
She was forced to do it. Yeah.
That scallywag, how dare she.
The cake she had promised, but the kiss was never on the table.
Oh no, the cake was just a metaphor. They didn't divulge all the details of what was really going on. You just gotta read between the lines.
That's probably prohibited. It's probably quite problematic.
That's because in some games, trying to get a glimpse of male characters' butts can feel a bit like wrestling with the camera.
Just go online. You've got the internet. Just go and look at some porn, Anita. For the love of God.
I love it. Wrestling with the camera.
I mean, shouldn't you just be playing the game?
They're hidden are by preventing the player from seeing below the character's waistline, or employing a
Dear
more
God.
over-the-shoulder camera angle, which has the added benefit of keeping the character's butt safely out of the frame.
That was the entire reason for it.
Safely out of the frame.
Safely.
They didn't want a dangerous butt in the frame, you know. It's not that the character was taking up too much of the screen anyway, you know. It wasn't anything to do with that. It was about keeping that arse under control. Fucking.
It's not because there was a team of people who, for months, were programming this whole area that the character is existing in, and they want you to really admire it.
I have no idea what she thinks video games are for. She seems to think that they're just like objectification simulators, and that anyone who's playing one has to do it at all times, and there's no other purpose for the thing in any way.
The most amusing solution is to simply include a cape, tunic, long coat, or a very conveniently positioned piece of tattered fabric.
There's something I want to point out. She pointed out Devil May Cry as being one of the games because they have trench coats. Dante, the main protagonist from the Devil May Cry series, is one of the most over-sexualized male characters from a video game series you can find, and on purpose.
I've never played any Devil May Cry. Tell me why.
In general, the dude just goes so far out of his way to be like that hot fucking just, I don't know, able to get all the ladies type character. Was in DMC Devil May Cry, which is made by Ninja Theory. That one right there, they do so much shit on purpose where he's naked and they have like the subtle camera angles and shit, kind of like Austin Powers style when he's getting dressed. There's total close-ups of everything that you can imagine of it because the character's there for fan service. I know too many women online that love to ogle the shit out of the Devil May Cry characters, and no one bats an eye. I think Dante's an awesome character, but I don't go, oh man, I don't like the fact that when I move the camera around, I can see like his butt. Oh,
has no one told Anita?
Man, I better make a video.
Someone better tell Anita because she's going to be pissed about this.
I've played through Force Awakens 2 a few times because I hate myself, and there are outfits he wears where you see his ass, so I don't know what she's fucking talking about.
But the thing is...
Now, here's the thing,
Well, that would require playing the whole game.
Wait, I heard two people at the same time.
I was just going to say, that would require playing the whole game.
Yeah, no, it did.
Oh, obviously she didn't do that, but the thing is... It's again like I love the conspiratorial aspect. It's the intent is to find these outfits that deliberately cover male asses but not female asses. It's not that trench coats look cool, you know. It's not that like the Assassin's Creed robes look cool. That's nothing to do with it. It's not that it looks badass or anything like that. It's because then you can't see their butts. So when you see a woman in a different video game, her butt will, you can guarantee it won't be covered up, and the numbers will be in the favour of the men, because patriarchy. Fucking...
Which actively prevents the player from getting a clear or sustained look at the protagonist's butt. For the purposes of this video, I tried to get a glimpse of Batman's rear end, but it's as if his cape is a high-tech piece of Wayne Industries equipment designed to cover up his butt at all costs.
You see his ass all the time, though. The cape goes up in the wind. You see his ass constantly.
Yeah, someone actually just tweeted me that. So yeah, here you go. There's Batman's ass. If you really have to look at it, you go on Anita.
If you use Nightwing. Nightwing, again, is another overly sexualized main character, not only within the comics, but in the game. Yeah, you can see his ass no matter what angle you point it at. And then if you have the Batman Beyond costume, he has no cape. She's bitching about a character who's famous for having a cape, and you can't always see his ass 24 hours a day. If that was the case, his fucking cape would be made of plexiglass.
Yeah, so, I've only ever played City, and Robin has only half a cape, so even when he's not flying, you can see his ass constantly.
Now, do you have trouble focusing on taking down all the thugs within Gotham City because you see his ass?
Oh yeah, I've never beaten a level playing as him.
See, I haven't beaten a level. I've just beaten off. I could not stop whatsoever. I was just like, oh man, the boy wonder.
Just can't get through the game without touching yourself.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I'm just distracted by Batman's magnificent digital ass.
Hey,
I would say this whole stream's been derailed by that.
Batman, you filth.
I'd be surprised if we actually went back to the Anita video at this point. I'm happy just talking about Batman's ass for the rest of the stream.
Batman,
I like to
Arkham
joke.
buns.
Usually refer to this aspect of a male character's costume as the strategic butt covering.
Yeah, and that's why no one takes you seriously anymore, Anita.
And when she was using Catwoman as a reference, we have another character who she was built from the ground up to not only be a master thief, but she's used the art of seduction the entire time that her character has existed. So that doesn't make any sense at all. It's like bitching about Aphrodite or some shit.
A character that's their entire the purpose of the character is to use like sexual power and whatnot, right?
Yeah, her sexual appeal is a part of her arsenal. And if she walks onto the scene dressed like she's an Amish, that part of her power is not going to work.
And here's the thing, Catwoman, love her or hate her, but she may be a badass, but if we just slap a potato sack over her and expect her to go around all willy-nilly doing some of the insane shit that she does...
Yeah, if anything... Yeah, I mean, if her character has any point, the point of her character is to show how weak men are, because they're so easily seduced by her power of sexuality that she uses. Like like you said, she uses it as a weapon, as part of her arsenal.
Yeah, dude, even Batman has succumbed to her. We're talking about Batman, like the second smartest human in DC Comics.
I know, it's a level 9 intellect.
Yeah, and then you have Catwoman who comes over and she's just like, you want to bang? And he's just like, well, I can't save the city anymore. Off to go and do Catwoman. There's Batman. There you go. He was just taken down. Darkseid can't fully take him down, but the Joker can't take him down. Catwoman's tits and ass, they can. Maybe Anita proved her point.
So what you're saying is Batman needs to put her in a burqa and drop her off at Plymouth Rock, yeah? Fucking deal with it. Yeah, fucking...
Of course, not all games with male protagonists keep the character's butt obscured or out of frame like these games do. The real issue is one of emphasis and definition. A significant portion of third-person games with female protagonists call attention to those characters' butts in a way that's
Could you pause it for a second? So that last game she played a clip from was Bully, and that kid is like 13 in the video.
Well, this one.
What is she wondering why she can't see a 13-year-old's ass?
And she also used Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness. So now she's batting for 100 in terms of just finding the absolute turds of gaming and bringing them up as examples. Like, this isn't helping your cause. First you brought up the main character from Watch Dogs, and all I could think about is the endless patches Ubisoft had to apply to that clusterfuck of a game. And she's like, well, his ass was covered up. And I'm like, well, not with enough patches, because that broken-ass game still got released on day one. So I just thought about that. It just derailed everything for me. Damn you.
With female protagonists call attention to those characters' butts in a way that's meant to be sexually appealing to the presumed straight male player.
God, you sound like that is just nothing but projection, is it? You know, it's meant to be sexually appealing to the presumed straight male player. It's like, look, that's you talking about your ideology. You know, they're not thinking, shall we sexualize this arse for the male player? You know, like you said with Tomb Raider, she's a 13-year-old girl. They're just thinking, right, character in the middle of the screen so they can see as much of the character around her as possible. You know, see all the enemies, get on with the game. They're not thinking, let's sexualize this arse. Well, I mean, maybe they are in some games, but certainly not in that fucking game.
In this regard, the way that women's bodies are depicted is significantly different from the way that men's bodies are depicted. There are a few examples of male protagonists who are wearing clothing that calls attention to their butts, but for the most part, men's butts, even when visible in the frame, are de-emphasized. Plenty of male here.
I think one of the things she's probably also complaining about here is the fact that men and women walk differently. And I think the irony about this is they probably did, you know, what are those suits where they've got the nodal points and they record the person walking and then they translate that into the animation.
You know, I don't know what they're called, but I know what you're talking
Motion,
about.
sim capture.
Sim capture, whatever.
Motion capture.
Yes, I've got no doubt that at some point she's going to complain about the fact that I mean, like with the Catwoman, like she was showing earlier with Batman, you know, she's rocking her hips from side to side, but some women walk like that, and they walk like that to literally, you know, to attract attention because they know it gets attention, and so it's one of those things that's like, you know, this isn't like a deliberate plan, it's just some people walk like that and some people don't, Anita.
Yeah, the way that the character walks and is portrayed in general is part of what defines that character. If we took Max Payne right there and we decided that we were going to have him sashay, hips swiveling, just like Catwoman, I'm pretty sure there is no cocaine cartel fucking king out there that's going to be all that scared of Max Payne. They're just going to be wondering, like, are you trying to seduce me? Like, are you gonna go and use your slow motion time effects to like blow loads everywhere? I don't get what's going on, Mr. Payne. What's happening here?
Do I need to dismiss my guards?
With that point, it sort of goes against what Anita said earlier. In that instance, you actually can tell a lot from a person by their ass.
I told you. See, stick with me and you'll learn everything about a person through their rear end.
Sargon knew it the whole time.
We're not going to be friends for very long then, I guess.
Look, just bend over. I'll know you intimately. I'll be able to tell you everything about yourself. Things you don't even know.
Girls wear
You
baggy
know,
pants or...
I feel like you were a lot straighter before you had that stream with Milo. Just saying.
Yeah, what happened when that camera cut, Sargon? What happened?
Who initiated that? Was that you? That was probably you.
Look, do you think Milo's the sort of guy who initiates, or do you think he's the sort of guy who gets chased? Honestly,
I think you chased after him.
Well, obviously.
I just always imagined he told everybody whose dick he wanted to suck, and they said okay, and that was like the entire conversation.
Do you seriously want me to believe that? Do you seriously want me to believe that Milo approached you? Do you know how many pudgy English MRA neckbeards are trying to suck his dick every day?
Probably quite a few, to be fair.
You're just one of hundreds, dude.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Hundreds. You think because you got a YouTube channel that sets you apart? Get out of here. Milo will chew you up and spit you out.
He's gonna break your heart, man. He's gonna break your heart.
Don't get emotionally invested, Zargon. Don't get emotionally invested.
Don't get attached. Okay, I understand. I'll try not to. I'll just I'll just try not to be on call whenever he comes around.
Thinking about his handsome smile, I can actually peer into your brain right now as the stream's going on. You're thinking about it, aren't you?
I love that we're all concerned trolling Sargon about Milo.
I'm so glad that you are.
He's like trying to think about, oh well, maybe I'll be a proctologist or something. No, it's definitely this. I think you're caving into it, and we're just trying to help you out of that.
Honestly, right? I would love to be gay. I would absolutely love to be gay. No, seriously.
Can we please have that quoted in YouTube remixes of it?
Honestly, if there was a pill that you could take to make you gay, I would take it.
No, I guarantee you Shu is going to tweet that.
Seriously, gay guys look like they're having an amazing time until they go to an Islamic country.
You
but
know,
like,
Sargon, I think with a bit more soul searching, you might find you won't have to take that pill.
Well, the thing is, man, I've done a lot of ass searching, and I've just found that I'm just not into men's asses. They're just not as exciting as women's asses. I don't know why.
I don't think they're portrayed prominently enough in these games that Anita has been showing you.
That's a good point.
Maybe with the right games, with the more revealing asses,
if
you
only
might be swayed.
there was equal amount of ass objectification in video games, I might be gay.
I mean, that's pretty much what I think Anita is advocating for in this video. I mean, she doesn't come right out and say it. You know, I mean, she doesn't come right out and say it, but she's either advocating for that no asses should be objectified or that all asses should be objectified.
Definitely no.
I
Definitely
think it's the
no.
latter.
Definitely
I think
no.
it's the latter.
No. She doesn't want any asses objectified. Come on. She's incredibly sex negative. She doesn't want asses objectified.
All video game characters should just be a single pixel or just like square. Or
Yeah,
just
well, hang on.
Are you gonna bring up that character that you like so much?
I'm gonna bring up the character that Anita recommended as like the best video game character ever. I can't find it. Here we go.
I recall her as looking stunning and brave.
Yeah, thanks, Anita. This is one of Anita's highly recommended characters. It's about 10 pixels.
And the fact that it's a woman is irrelevant to the story too.
And possibly something you wouldn't be able to identify if you weren't already told it in advance.
In fact, I think you have to look for it to find out that it's a woman.
How would you know?
Yeah.
So, but this is what I mean. She doesn't want all asses to be revealed. She wants them all covered up and pixelated as heavily as possible.
Here, hold up. If you also remember when she took pictures beside that gigantic stack of games? Well, I always love bringing that to everybody's attention because some of the games in that stack that she owns, mind you, are Bayonetta, the first one, Wet. Both of those games have actually been featured in this, and obviously are objectifying the living shit out of women with their polygonal digital asses. Let's see, Batman's in there. So, she should have played it enough to know that Batman, you can totally see his ass, side cheeks and all. God of War, you can totally see Kratos' ass numerous times in that.
Yeah, Kratos is virtually naked throughout the whole fucking game. Yeah, I watched the people who were designing it, and they were telling they were going through like the design process of Kratos, and he started with like really heavy armor and stuff like that, and then basically the whole design process they just stripped off parts of armor until he was just basically naked, and then they were like, yeah, okay, he was actually scarier like this, you know?
He's wearing the equivalent of an eye patch and a fanny pack.
Yeah, literally.
Around his midsection.
Yeah.
We can't forget about She Owns Catherine. That game has so much sexualized shit going on in it, it's ridiculous. There's so many different games on this list. It's kind of silly, and she's bitching about them. Like, well, why do you own them then? If you think they're that bad. Oh, wait, that's because they're not really your games. You just want to take a picture beside them. I want to assume that it was GameStop dumpster dived.
Probably. I honestly, I don't think she's played almost anything that she claims to have played. I really don't believe any of these claims, frankly.
Yo, bro, are you trying to tell me that there are tons of video games in the GameStop dumpster? Like, I should go hit that up.
You should. I got 2 Xbox 360s the one time I went in, and they both work. Dead serious. One of them was the slim model too, so that was a nice chunk of change I got that day.
Wow.
I got to look up the GameStop dumpster. Damn.
Yeah, got that.
Jeans. Uncharted's Nathan Drake among them. But nothing about his visual design or the jeans he's wearing encourages you to focus on his butt as some sort of defining aspect of his character.
Oh my god. So, he shows his butt. This is a positive example, except the game makes no effort to make you look at his butt.
I don't understand. Isn't it sort of up to the player?
I don't remember you demonstrating that the games with women encourage you to look at his butt.
Well, the thing is, you have to understand that Anita Sarkeesian knows how the game affects your eyeball muscles. She's got this real sort of detailed knowledge of how this happens. And so, I mean, she's right. I'm looking directly at Nathan Drake's butt, but for some reason I can't help but not look at it and look at the woman's next to it. It's amazing. I don't know how she does it.
That's because everything's about butts now. So, all Sir Mix-a-Lot references aside, now you're staring at every character's ass, but now you're not staring enough at these characters' asses because they don't have tons of neon signs pointing to them and little objection markers right between the cheeks. Nothing like that, so it's not good enough for my standards.
Well, I think Anita makes a good point. As I'm looking at Nathan's ass,
No one thinks
it's almost as if my eyes are being magnetized away from his ass, like that my eyes are just being pushed away from his butt. It's just the way the game is designed, man. The game isn't telling me to look at his ass.
It's absolute filth. It's all in your mind, Anita. It's not the game making you look at asses, it's you.
By contrast, this emphasis on the butts of female characters communicates to players that this is what's important. This is what you should be paying attention to.
The fuck are you talking about?
This is what's important. This is her career.
What the fuck is she talking about?
This is what she gets paid to do. She used to whine about video game asses. This is her career. This is what she chose. This is the future you chose, Anita. Go and lecture us about video game asses. Oh my god.
Well, it's even better because all the people that were in support of her and gave them tons of their money because they had cash to burn, I guess, they get to know that it all went towards this. That there's a revolution starting and asses will be covered one way or another. Regardless if Sargon's going to scan for them, that doesn't matter. They will be covered.
Oh god, in the grim, dark, feminist video game future, no one's going to have an ass on display. It's going to be it's going to be awful.
No, it's going to be like the movie Coneheads. It's just one big mouth, no crack, no hole, no nothing, just those weird nerfs.
It's going to be like the original Tomb Raider's tits, but for asses, isn't it?
Just gonna be... No, because that would be too pointy, and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, let's go with hashtag pointy movement or some shit. I don't know what she would go with. Anti-slopes.
You know, though, I think that I think we really should congratulate Anita though, because none of us managed to extort almost $500,000 out of people to talk about video game asses. I mean, I didn't even think this was possible. You know, this is genuinely groundbreaking in what she's done. I mean. It's incredible. I think we really should give her the credit where it's due.
It's not even that she's talking about them, but specifically complaining that she doesn't like video game asses, the career. I don't like video games, the career.
That's what it is, though. And yeah, but $500,000 last year. You know, you didn't make that, did you? Fucking. She's raking it in. What a genius.
Yeah. We should aspire to be more like her.
Communicates that the character is a sexual object designed for players to look at and enjoy. And by explicitly encouraging you to ogle and objectify the character, the game is implicitly discouraging you from identifying directly with her.
Oh, okay, right. One thing that when I was looking into Digra, I learned is that Digra had a whole bunch of research about how people identify with the player character, and it turned out that they didn't. And this was something that these radical feminist lesbians absolutely loathed. They hated it because they really everything about the ideology is about identification. It's all about identity, and they were obsessed with the idea that you identify with your character. And basically the reason they want this is because if you don't identify with your character, then there's no design, there's no reason, there's no justification for having like X number of women or X number of black people or gay people or trans or anything like that. You don't identify them. What's the point, you know? And the woman Adrian Shaw, she really didn't approve of her own research, finding out that people didn't identify with the character, they just kind of occupied the character, and so they kind of ran around with the character, and they kind of saw the character as themselves, regardless of what the character was, which is why like the most successful characters in fiction are like people like Indiana Jones, you know, they're the empty vessel characters that people just control and go around with. And so yeah, I don't even know what, I mean, like nothing she's saying has got any kind of backing, and I don't want to say that this feminist sort of social science research is really reliable or anything, but just judging from my own experience playing video games, I don't give a fuck what the fucking main character thinks. I just don't care. You know, I am the main character. Not, you know, they don't have the fucking... I always hate it when they have a personality separate to what I think, you know? It's like, just shut up, stop talking, I'm trying to kill people. For fuck's sake.
I don't like to change it.
Yeah, basically. Look, I'm learning the ropes, okay? There are going to be millions of channels dedicated to bringing me down because I'm trying to puritanically change video games.
Also, I find it weird, and this is an assertion that she's made numerous times before, but the idea that because you find someone sexually attractive or that you just find them physically appealing, that you can't identify with them or see them as a person at the same time is ridiculous. I mean, by that logic, Armored Skeptic wouldn't see June as a human being. Like, obviously...
Oh, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
If you listen to Kevin Logan, he definitely doesn't.
Yeah, watch a Kevin Logan video. Come on.
Yeah, educate yourself, shitlord.
Be quite enlightened about me.
But the thing is, isn't it worrying that, like, okay, well, you know, you what they're saying is you want to have sex with an object. It's like, what you saying? I like look at my Hoover or something, and like, oh, it's a nice vacuum cleaner. You know?
Yeah, it's almost as if once you're sexy or you're physically appealing, you become less human. When in fact, being sex is part of what makes us human to begin with.
I mean, literally. I mean, I don't know about Anita. I really don't. But I only have sex with humans. I mean, it's. I know I'm a bit of a bigot that way. I discriminate against non-humans. So you know, to say, oh, you're dehumanizing them. No. I'm literally not. I'm literally treating them as a human being that has consented to have sex with me.
You know, anybody who goes on just like for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours about just sexual objects, I just baseline assume they probably have a really unhealthy relationship with their vibrator.
Do you honestly think she has a vibrator?
Well, listen, I'm not.
If she had a vibrator, I doubt she'd be so unbearable.
I'm just going to close my lips. I'm just going to close my lips on that question. I plead the fifth.
I think she'd be a lot less insufferable if she did. Maybe we should have a whip round. Fucking sort her out.
Anyways,
but we can.
MRA neckbeard piece of garbage.
We can send it to Macintosh. Just like Macintosh, come on, do everyone a favor for fuck's sake. Step up to the plate, you fucking ballless. Sorry, go on. Okay, I need to go.
From identifying directly with her. Strategic butt coverings and camera angles that obscure characters' rear ends are not an accident. They are a conscious decision made with great care, and the flip side of this is that designers often do the opposite when the protagonist is female. This difference in how male and female characters are framed often extends into the advertisements and box covers.
Okay, I think this is actually something that she may have a legitimate point on, but she makes it sound a lot more nefarious than it actually is. Yes, they do tend to use sexualized human beings when advertising anything. You know, everyone knows that sex sells, and Anita herself frames it as sexism sells. But either way, yes, they are using like sexualized people. You know, you're not wrong there, Anita. But okay, so what? That's the question. Where is the negativity around that? Where, if anything, it appears to be pedestalizing and empowering these women. You know, Lara Croft is like she's a sex symbol. You know, which is why you get. It was Angelina Jolie who played her in the film.
Yeah.
You know, like one of the sexiest women on earth. You know, it's not a derogatory thing to be sexy on a cover. You know?
That's where the double standard has leaked into entertainment in general. You have tons of people parading about on the internet being offended for the sake of all works of fiction that all the women need to be changed to meet the needs of those people. They need to be represented. They need to look this way, talk this way, act this way, and be this way. And if they are extremely attractive and in any way are sexy, then all of a sudden everyone's up in arms and everyone has an issue about it, and I don't see why the fuck it matters. To me, if you look at a character in a game, in a movie, in a TV show, in anything at all, and you see that character and for whatever reason it offends you and it bothers you, you avoid it at all costs, but they feel that all this needs to be changed because they are special, all fucking 10 of them, but they're so goddamn loud you assume that there's millions of them because they're non-stop harping on it.
Yeah, I mean, the question ultimately is, okay, so you've pointed this trend out. You've pointed out the fact that humans like sex, and so as a result of that, people try to incorporate that want, that desire in marketing because they know people are naturally attracted to sexual titillation. Why is that bad? Why is that wrong? What's the harm in that? What is, the end game here? What exactly is this doing to our society? And I want to add, the shitty pink stick figure on the right is a bad example of that. Okay, there's a butt there, but I wouldn't exactly say I'm attracted to that cover.
Oh, don't lie to us on a fucking stream, you liar.
Yeah, I'm just
Dude, I would mistake that more for the Pink Panther than I would Missplosion Man.
Personally, as somebody who does enjoy the butt, I also enjoy the thighs as well. It's kind of like it's a 2-for-1 deal. It's a package. Yeah. And our pink character over here has stick figure legs, so it's a no-go for me.
Yeah.
I assume if you looked at Missplosion Man and you were getting your jollies off, then I don't even want to see the kind of shit you're looking up on DeviantArt.
There's probably a bit of Rule 34 with her on DeviantArt.
But look at this. Games Workshop they've clearly fallen to the feminists. I can't see the Space Marine's arse at all. This is disgraceful. I want more Space Marine arse in my fucking Games Workshop.
Women's butts are front and center, and it's even become a depressing joke that their bodies are twisted and contorted in uncomfortable or unnatural ways so that their breasts and butt can be visible in the same shot.
How is that a depressing joke? What? I mean, she sounds like she's terribly fun at parties, doesn't she? Fucking...
Look, the only thing that's depressing is she put up an advertisement for Parasite Eve 3, aka Third Birthday, and that game is fucking garbage. That's literally what comes out of an ass. Terrible game.
Really?
It's awful. It should not even bear any resemblance to the first extremely amazing legendary games. But what's interesting is Aya Bree, the main character that you see right there that she's complaining about, is an extremely strong, independent, bad as fuck, and interesting female video game character. And she was rocking and fucking awesome in the first 2 games. But in no way would she ever bring that up when discussing this, because that doesn't fit the narrative right here. She's complaining about butts. So let's go and complain about the really shitty acid wash. What the fuck happened to your jeans, Aya? Just crazy.
Yeah, it's just me. I don't play games like this, so I'm actually really not familiar with most of the games she's showing us. I play fucking Grand Strategy and shit like that. So, I don't know these games, but I've heard that almost every game that she's featuring is complete shit. Is that true?
Command and Conquer, Red Alert 3, I haven't played. X-Blades is very, very mediocre. The game that's up and to the left with the chick with the tattoo, I'm having trouble reading what the hell that title is. It's something 3.
Something for the PlayStation 2, so it's really relevant, I'm sure.
Yeah, but
it was like I was saying earlier. I mean, Anita consistently critiques and points out these sorts of trends and these flaws in
from like 5 years
games that are not only older, they're not very well made. They don't sell a lot of copies. They're pretty mediocre, or they're not very well reviewed. And that's again just the case again and again and again. I mean, the games typically, from what I see, the quality of the games that she critiques, it would be the equivalent of trying to do this same series but make it movie oriented and only critique movies that are just like really trashy cliche B horror slash flicks where you kind of see scantily clad women running around from monsters and knife wielding psychos. Like, of course that stuff is kind of tasteless,
and they use attractive women because their story sucks. They use attractive women because they know that they need anything to keep people fucking watching, right?
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's the same thing with games too. It's like, we know the game sucks, so we need to use sex and sexy characters to sell it.
Yeah, I mean,
whenever it was a good game and it featured a male protagonist and their ass was in full view throughout the entirety of the game, it wasn't assy enough. I don't understand what she wanted. Like, my attention isn't going directly at his ass. I'm like, so you're only paying attention to the female asses, and the dude's asses that you can see at all times that are definitely defined just aren't defined, and I don't get it. Maybe she's just not into dudes' asses.
I think, yeah, maybe we should get like a stripper calendar or something. Just be like, here you go, Anita. This will just help you out. I mean, this is clearly what you're looking for, not a video game.
Also, a very technical term there a second ago, assy enough. I like that.
Dude, I kept on thinking to myself, I'm like, exactly how is she gauging all of this? And I'm pretty sure that assy is probably a unit of measurement whenever she's trying to go and figure out, like, is this enough? Yeah,
That's exactly
it's
the
assy
ass scale, I believe.
Yeah, this is something that she's probably going to be copywriting, and you'll see it as a feminist frequency exclusive.
Yeah, I noticed he hasn't given us any statistics on what is assy enough and what is lacking in ass. She just makes these assertions without backing it up with anything. If you can believe that Anita would do such a thing.
Contrast, when men are depicted from behind.
Wait, do you guys think she might?
Well, if she would do it in video form, it would probably take a year and a half, so we'll never know.
You know what, right? We really should have thought about it. Rockstar have really just... obviously, if someone was going to save Anita from the hell of not seeing enough men's asses, it was going to be Rockstar, wasn't it? I mean, just look at that. Isn't that just... That's exactly what she wanted, isn't it?
Oh, God. Yeah, perfect.
She should send them like a fruit basket or something. She's like, you know what, Rockstar...
Like
you really came through for me this time.
Grand Theft Auto is a positive example, Anita. Eat shit.
Just try not to kill any fucking hookers, alright? Psycho.
That should be the
She's like, oh, you get to see asses, but you also kill hookers, so it's a bad example.
I'm so torn. Oh, Anita.
When men are depicted from behind, there's great effort taken to cover up their rear end, often with other images or shadows.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's like she's an idiot or something, Like, I mean, okay, what they're doing is presenting the power of the character. And a lot of time women, their power does genuinely lie in their sexuality. Look at like the God of War thing. Where's this guy's power? Where's his appeal? It's in his fucking huge shoulders and like really aggressive fucking posture. With the Just Cause guy and the Uncharted guy, it's the fucking cool, I don't give a fuck, I'm so hard, I don't need to worry about looking behind me and whatnot. They're different, you cunt. Okay, I didn't mean to call it.
That's part of the sexual appeal of these characters as well. I mean, men have sexual appeal, and it doesn't come from having a fat ass.
It doesn't come from looking like fucking what's her name, Kardashian. Are you serious?
Nathan Drake is a sexy character, but it comes from the fact that he has, dashing looks.
Yeah.
He's physically fit. He's smart. He travels the world. He's bold. He's brave. He's adventurous. And none of the characteristics that people...
We get it. You're attracted to him.
He's hot, yeah, go on.
I am a little, I'll admit that. I'm fine with that. I'm comfortable with my sexuality. And I will say I'm jealous that Sargon got that alone time with Milo. So I'll
Look,
just
man,
put that out there,
I'm just saying I've got a video, so
I'm just saying that, the things that both men and women find sexy in men have little to do with the things that men and women usually find sexy in women. They're just different genders, and not that, what's sexy to a person is the same across the board. I mean, we're all free to have our own preferences and so on and so forth.
I mean, looking like Nathan Drake in the chat from Just Cause. I mean, literally, sure. if you were to say to a woman, okay, what do you find attractive in a man? There's a good chance she'd say something like, I'd like him tall, dark, and handsome. And, I mean, that's exactly what these two characters are. I'm not saying that it's necessarily designed to attract women, but, I think that men understand that it's this kind of character archetype that women do find attractive, and so it's something to aspire to, And same like, God of War with the muscles, it's like, alright, it makes you powerful and terrifying and stuff. It's something to aspire to. These are aspirational figures. They're not, like, insults, and she seems to take any attractive women as, like, well, an insult against her own figure or something. I don't know.
Clearly, they're unrealistic representations of women. No, they're just sex objects, and there's nothing more to them. Meanwhile, plenty of those female characters were created by women. So I have to sit there and wonder.
Wasn't that the Bayonetta character? Yeah, Bayonetta herself was created by a woman, and Anita
when they
was...
develop these characters through like the story, through all the shit that they go through, I guess all of that doesn't matter because she's got a nice ass. So everything that they've done, yeah, it doesn't matter. Just sweep it under the carpet.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Someone sent this to me. It's like, okay, this is absolutely verboten. Just who decided to paint this? Like,
Oh my god.
you know, we need sexy Space Marine
somebody
strip
put a
clubs.
lot of effort into this.
Didn't they just? I'm going to retweet that. That's brilliant.
It's a lot of imagination.
Okay.
Images or shadows. Of course, female characters can also be framed in ways that aren't objectifying. A good example of this is the episodic adventure game Life is Strange.
Okay, hang on a sec. Hang on. Alice Madness Returns. Is that anything? Was that developed by American McGee?
Yeah.
Isn't he like really anti-social justice warrior?
Yeah, big time.
It's weird that she'd feature that, then, isn't it?
Well, here's the thing. She doesn't know shit about any of the subject matter, like, at all. It's more interesting because this game came under scrutiny. This game did come under scrutiny. She came under scrutiny for featuring this because if you get to look into the story of Alice Madness Returns, like, have any of you played it?
No.
Okay, there's her whole entire backstory in it is very dark and very fucked up, and there's definitely some shit about like rape, molestation, things of that nature. And she's an extremely powerful character, and it's just kind of weird that she goes and brings up something like this, and it's like, man, you do not do your homework. I mean, people have known that for a long time now, but it's just it just continues to resonate more and more with each video.
Yeah, it becomes just truer and truer as time goes on, doesn't it? But
Great game, bud.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I'm sure that if she knew, she'd be kicking herself because, this guy's very much opposed to social justice warriors because he thinks they're a fucking cancer. And yeah, like she's pointing out, his games are not like sexually objectifying, so it kind of debunks everything about her narrative. If you're not a feminist, you can still make games that are respectful to women. You know, that don't sexually objectify women, that are in fact focused on the game itself rather than the fact that she's a woman.
To be framed in ways that aren't objectifying. A good example of this is the episodic adventure game Life is Strange, in which the protagonist's butt isn't emphasized or centralized. The camera angles work in conjunction with the story to encourage us to identify with her as a human being.
Oh, this game looks amazing. I've never played Life is Strange. Can anyone tell me about it?
My wife has watched a lot of Let's Plays of it that I've seen, and it's actually a pretty interesting game, but I wouldn't call it a game as much as I would sort of like a choose-your-own adventure sort of thing. I mean, you're kind of walking through this story and you're navigating a bunch of different social situations, and your character sort of has this special power to rewind time, so you can always kind of go back to a certain turning point or a fork in the road and make a different decision and go in a different direction. And I think the story and the graphics and the aesthetics of the game are really compelling, but it's
a
not
girly
game
version of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Yes, exactly. You know, it's not a game that's sort of big on the action, but it's kind of big on concept. And
I don't mean to sound dismissive because there's nothing about there's nothing about like an interactive novel that's in any way sort of illegitimate. Absolutely not. No, I'm not trying to be dismissive of that at all. It's just I'm used to my games with a bit more action. That's all.
Sadly, the box art for the third-person action-adventure game Beyond Good and Evil emphasizes and sexualizes Jade's butt.
What? That's not sexualized. What? She looks like she's just on a mission or something.
She is a character. She is a character that Anita has used as a positive example.
Yeah, she has.
I was going to say that. Like she said good things about this game, and I don't see this as sexualized at all. I mean, the thing on her hip obscures half of her butt, and her pants aren't exactly like skin clinging.
No,
And at this point, she's basically saying that any butt that you see is sexy. And I mean, that's just not true. As someone who enjoys butts, not every time I see a butt do I go, Yeah,
honestly, as an expert butt reader, I can tell you that this butt is not designed for sex. At least, not the way it's framed here.
Not designed for sex.
This butt is designed for adventuring. That's clearly what the character has in mind. No. So, listen, I am the butt whisperer. I will tell you how this butt thinks. Yeah, it is. It's an adventurous butt. It's on a mission and it's got things to do and places to go. Okay.
Dude, if you wrap any ass in corduroy, nobody's getting all that aroused. And you can slap it onto the front of any game that you want, no matter how good it is, and nobody's just picking up going, man, I can't wait to see this ass in action.
Yeah, no, that is actually like literal fact, objective empirical truth, right there.
Like, I mean, sure, we see the back end of the character, but I think what the art is implying is that she's heading into that light and into that city. And
she's off doing things, and she's got the camera in one hand.
She's got a camera. She's not facing you. She's not walking toward you. She's walking toward the adventure she's about to go on.
Exactly. If anything, she looks like she's looking at you saying, come on, hurry up. We're going somewhere, you know? It's
hey, dickhead, stop looking at my ass. Let's do this.
And she's definitely saying that to Anita, because that's the only person who was staring at her ass.
Yeah, everyone else was on board with the adventure.
Her face. She has this look on her face like, Anita, are you looking at my ass? Give it a fucking rest.
Good thing she got the camera. She can take a picture of her, because Anita's definitely a pervert.
The game itself, however, demonstrates that the Nathan Drake approach of outfitting a character in clothing that doesn't emphasize their butt and not having the camera center in or focus on it can work just as well to humanize female characters as it does for male characters.
But the thing is, the butt's in directly, like, virtually in the middle of the screen. It's... I mean, are you not complaining about that, Anita?
I mean, it's really up to the player of the game how much or how little they look at a certain character's butt.
Yeah, well, you see all these flying bone things that are trying to kill the character? Yeah, don't look at those. Look at the character's ass wearing, jean-covered ass. That's the bit you should be focusing on.
So to be clear, the solution here is not to simply show more butts of male characters.
Told you.
Equal opportunity butt display is definitely not the answer.
Told you. See, I know her too well. It's almost like I've had my hand in her butt.
Can Shu quote that as well?
Oh, I'm sure she will.
And do you think I'm a stranger to that facial expression as well?
The other one was better. The last one, the last screen pause that we had earlier.
Look, Anita, just give me 10 minutes alone with your butt, and I'll tell you everything you need to know.
Rather, the solution is to de-emphasize the rear ends of female characters, so that players are encouraged not to ogle and objectify these women, but to identify and empathize with them as people.
Okay, but what do you do when a woman is trying to get people to look at her butt? That's the question, because there are plenty of women in real life who actively flaunt what they have. I mean, they often go to like Comic-Cons and stuff like that because they're attractive and they want to use this power. And there are women who want this sort of thing in games. So what do you do then? Do you just say no, fuck you?
I start screaming reverse rape over and over again until somebody beats the shit out of me until I'm unconscious.
Well, kind of another ridiculous thing about that statement is that, I mean, if I were to be playing any of these games that she was talking about hypothetically, I'm not identifying or empathizing or sympathizing or whatever with these characters, not because they're sexualized, not empathizing with them as if they're people, not because they're sexualized. I'm not empathizing with them because they're not fucking people. They're pixels on a fucking screen. And for that same reason, I don't empathize or sympathize with any male characters I play in a video game. It's an avatar. It's a pawn that you just sort of move across the board. You don't feel bad if it dies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's none of these things are real as well.
Even that is a weird sort of term to apply to the situation because it doesn't actually experience death.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously none of them have any kind of feelings or anything like that. And this is something that she's actually complained about before as well. That the characters are just treated as if they're background decorations. Like, Anita, they're just digitally rendered. They've probably got about 10 lines of script controlling their movement, Just stop, Anita. You don't know anything about any of this. You're mental. And I've noticed that Ash Frequency is getting quite a lot of tweets. Hashtag Ash Frequency. I'd really like it if we can get it trending. Come on, there are like 4,000 or 5,000 people watching this. If we can get this trending, that would be amazing.
I'll be proud of myself. That'll be my first trending hashtag.
Yeah, come on, do it for Skeptic, guys. Come on. Hashtag Ash Frequency. Yeah, okay, on.
This is not an impossible task, given that game designers do this all the time with their male characters.
It's like dealing with a retard. I mean, it's just like... just what is the incentive, Anita? What is the incentive to not have sexy women in your games? You know, the incentive that you're giving is, well, I mean, it's not going to objectify women, which means less sales, probably. And the alternative is put attractive women in, so the people that like attractive women can see attractive women. The people who don't care about that won't notice. So, you know, you're not giving them any sort of incentive to do what you want.
And
you're just kind of nagging them.
Like, what does it say about the developer that they're marketing their game to purposefully make the character unattractive or cover up the fact that they are attractive? So this is like some kind of shaming practice now, that if you look good at all, cover all that shit up, and if you show it off at all, then clearly every single woman out there is being taken advantage of. There you go. That's ridiculous, and that's like the direction that she's trying to head with this. Is I don't want to see their butts, and I know that I see the men's butts, but they're not the kind of butts I see on the women's butts, which are really nice. I've been staring at, made a whole fucking video about, and now it's being discussed. Ask frequency, by the way. So it's like,
on the plus side, I was working on my video game today, and here's the female character. I think Anita's going to approve. She's there's no butt involved at all.
Needs more pixels.
I don't know. I don't like that she's a white woman.
She's not white. Honestly, that's offensive to
Oh wait, she's not white. What's wrong with white people now, Sargon? What the fuck?
Oh man, no, it's fine to be okay. It's fine to be against white people. Jesus, white people are evil. You're a colonialist, imperialist oppressor. Don't you know anything about feminism?
Apparently I don't, because watching this.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Anisaki, and I have no idea.
This ass frequency hashtag is amazing. I love this little. If you guys hit up the hashtag, you'll see this picture not too far down where it says it's a pie graph and it says parts of the butt, and then a vast majority of the pie graph is pink and it just says the butt, and then there's a little sliver that's black and it says the butt crack.
Hang on, send it to me. I want to see it.
That's using math, man. That's pretty amazing. Hold on a second. Let me copy a link to the tweet, and I'll put it in the
honestly,
chat.
my Twitter feed is amazing.
Back to the proper unit of measurement. It's very assy, you'd say.
Yes, it's very assy.
Good. I'm glad that we're starting to understand how her mind thinks. That's
oh shit, Anita, look at this. It's Samus being objectified. Just triggered.
I put that link in the chat to the butt graph.
Oh, did you?
Dude, those orange pixels though, man, I'm. If you hear some slapping noises,
I'll just tweet it at you.
Yeah, tweet it at me, Max. I can't see it. But yeah, no, I am literally down to fuck now because of naked Samus. I mean, this is just. Okay, where the fuck is it? Jesus Christ, so many asses in my feed.
Oh, poor you.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world.
You asked for it.
Yeah, I did, but the thing is, I don't know what ass I'm looking for. Have you sent me that ass yet?
I tweeted it at you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I feel like that's been said in different contexts around the world.
That's right. You know, the statistics are bang on.
It's time they started consistently doing it with their female characters too.
Oh, you just have to end it on a little nag, doesn't she? You know,
it's time they start doing it consistently.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Mum. You know, sorry. Jesus fucking Christ! I'm sorry. I was too busy looking at fucking things and stuff and having fun. God. I think that's the end of the video, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, that was a short one.
Oh my god, this had writers.
Hold on, are you complaining about that?
No, I'm shocked.
It's a short one? No, I'm saying.
Oh right.
He says, "Oh, it's a short one."
Comments are disabled for this video. Are you surprised? Of course not.
If you can just withhold. Have we seen the Force Awakens one? Has anyone seen that?
Oh no.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, let's do it.
We're really doing this.
Sorry.
I strategically avoid them.
Hold on. Back in May of 1980, Darth Vader revealed a shocking secret and left.
Was he a woman? No, wait. What was the shocking secret? Oh, it was his father, wasn't it? Fucking hell.
left moviegoers.
Spoilers, guys.
Oh, I'm so Skeptic. You're a big Star Wars fan, right?
Yeah, huge.
Yeah. So, have you seen this review yet?
No, I'm scared.
It's going to be the fucking Mad Max of reviews, isn't it?
Is she gonna ruin my Star Wars?
I think I don't know. I don't think I've seen this. You know,
Or is she gonna talk about positive things about this?
I don't think she's ever talked about anything positive in her life.
Implication for 3 long years. He was Luke Skywalker's father. The truth is that I have a deep, dark secret of my own. I'm not a Star Wars fan.
See, I could have predicted that. She just given me access to her butt. I could have told her.
Okay, so many amazing things about that. One, that it's a weird quotation mark instead of an apostrophe in the
in
the subtitle there. But also, like, I love how she thought that was a secret. Like, okay, obviously, given your track record, we know that you don't like anything fun.
Wait, we need a screen cap of this. I'm not a Star Wars fan with that stupid fucking look on her face.
And that's the last thing that's amazing about this. I love that when she said it, she's like, I'm not a Star Wars fan.
Like, fucking smug-ass look on her face.
It's such a smug, pretentious
I'm
reaction.
sure that she feels pretty fucking awesome, too, saying that, I know lots of you like this, but for your information, I'm not.
Exactly. Like, she takes such pride in the fact that she's not a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, no. Someone pointed out that she didn't do any spoilers either. That's bad form. But yeah, she's just all around awful. I can't believe anyone likes her.
You want to know why she didn't do any fucking spoilers? She didn't see the fucking movie. She probably asked somebody about it and was like, I don't know, give me the gist of it.
Based on the trailer, these are my problems with it.
Yeah. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I don't know dick about it. Allow me to go and tell you strategically about
Well, with all of the money that she's made off Feminist Frequency, I mean, she clearly has enough cash to just go pay a bunch of other feminists to go watch the movie for her and then just report back afterwards.
Are you saying that she outsources Feminist Frequency? Because I would be, if I were her, I'd be disappointed with the quality I'm getting for my money. I mean, if the Feminist Frequency series is the result of money well spent, she should get a refund.
Well, Sargon, we're talking about a woman who has not shown up to places and then got paid more. So if anything, she could give a hot piping fuck less.
That is definitely a low blow, but probably very true, isn't it? The Utah thing where they said there's no threat, you can go, and then she was like, no, I'm not going to, give me money.
With the outsourcing thing, I think there's definitely a joke in there about Anita sort of outsourcing her feminism to, like, overseas. Like, if she were to sort of pay a bunch of women in another country a very low wage to sort of watch movies and play video games for her.
So wait, are you letting everybody in on the Tumblr sweatshop that Anita keeps underneath her compound?
Yes,
because
the Feminist Frequency sweatshop of just people being paid very low wages in a dark, dingy basement just to watch like movies and play video games.
You can just see all the poorly dyed hair just in the distance as they sit there and slave away on their keyboards, which just keep breaking down. They should have been given mechanical keyboards, but it just wasn't in the budget.
Dystopian future.
Them. I first watched the original 3 movies sometime in my early 20s, then again...
Oh, I bet she hated them. I bet she fucking hated them.
Again a few years later. Both times I had the same
reaction. By then the snarkiness had already set in.
Oh, they were fine. They were fine. I need to think Star Wars is fine, everyone. Just, I mean, it's not one of the sort of, generation-defining classics or anything like that. It's fine. And
they were fine.
Clearly, they were an important part of cinematic history, but I wasn't converted to Star Wars
we have
fandom
4
the way
phallic
millions
objects off the AT-ATs. That's triggering alone. We get those guns, phallic in nature.
And violent.
I love that she's telling her audience it's okay to like Star Wars. Don't feel bad. It's okay to like it.
She is, isn't she?
I like how liking it is equal to being converted to it.
It's a religion now.
Well, no, it's feminist friendly. It's okay. Just because it's got like one woman in it doesn't matter. It's feminist friendly.
Other viewers had been.
I'm not Star Wars.
When a friend asked me if I wanted to go see it, I agreed, but was skeptical that I would actually enjoy myself.
I don't know why that's so funny. I just love the idea that she's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this. It's like, Anita, you've never enjoyed anything.
How does she have friends who want to invite her to anything?
Yeah, exactly. What was the last thing you actually enjoyed, Anita? You know, just...
Her friend brought her to the movie, and she was probably just like, you do this every time.
Yeah, just shut up.
They're both munching on popcorn, and Anita Lake leans over to her friend and say, that part was really sexist.
I could see someone's ass.
Are you looking at her ass like I'm looking at her ass?
Her ass took up 43% of the screen.
Do you see how they're objectifying BB-8 right there?
To my surprise, I did. It's a fun movie, and unlike the tedious and lifeless prequels, it's a solid Star Wars film.
Look, Anita, right, I don't like the prequels
when
either.
She says tedious, okay, I mean, tedious and lifeless prequels, I mean, sure, but is she also talking about the originals?
Yeah, but I don't think she's in any position to judge what the prequels are like in comparison to the original films. Just,
sure.
You know, shut up, Anita. Just...
It's a solid Star Wars film, guys. It's a spirited and exciting sci-fi adventure.
A spirited and exciting sci-fi adventure. By far what I found most appealing
that
about
is
The Force
such like
Awakens.
a pap-ridden assessment of the movie.
It's the assessment of someone who really didn't enjoy the movies, isn't it?
It reads like a pull quote from somebody else's review.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's PR jargon. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's some of the most blatant like bullshit that you can pull up and be like, how do I not offend somebody and also seem as if I'm interested and educated? Yes. Kids are hip to this, right? Yes, galaxies far away. Huh? Yes? No?
You know, I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I thought the new movie was a spirited and fun sci-fi adventure.
You got to make sure that you have the closed eyes face that she
Oh,
made.
my eyes are closed. My eyes are real closed. But I'm not a Star Wars fan.
One of the most anticipated films of the decade in one of the most universally beloved film franchises of all time is that its two main characters are a white woman and a black man.
Not one of those dirty cisgendered white men. God. That would be awful. I mean, you know, that literally, I mean, that's literally the point she's making. You know, as if I can't remember the last time I watched a film and was like, well, thank God that character was, you know, wasn't black or wasn't a woman. You know, I mean,
These characters are still cis. Let's not give them too much credit.
Ah, that's true. I mean, they could be better. There is room for improvement. But I mean, why is that the first thing you jump to, Anita? You know, why?
Yeah, it's not like this is the first time we've ever seen this in a movie before.
Yeah, oh my God, a black person
was
with a woman.
There's tons of movies where, in television shows, I'm sure we could find that
Of course.
there's this kind of diversity in the cast.
Of course, there are thousands. You know, it's like,
you could argue that Star Wars is diverse just based upon the fact that it gives us diversity among alien races throughout the galaxy. You know, I think other movies are just a little bit too human-centric.
Well, honestly, this is exactly what I've been saying about like fucking video games and sci-fi. It's like I watch so many things that don't even include humans, you know. And then she's like, "Well, there are no black people in it." See, but there are no human beings in it. What are you fucking talking about? You know, I'm playing as an elf or an orc. You fucking
Look, I'm more offended that we're not talking about the transgendered robots that are also Wiccan. So, I mean, what about them? They're not being represented because that's how I identify with myself.
Yeah,
What the
Anita.
fuck?
Go on. Why aren't you representing them in this, Anita?
Yeah, apparently that doesn't matter. So that entire bracket, yeah, fuck it, just erase it.
Honestly, there's a reason they call you a sex worker exclusionary radical feminist on the internet, Anita, because you're just not including those space prostitutes.
I think the new Star Wars movie is less diverse than the prequels because they didn't have Jar Jar Binks in them.
I think that just makes them much better by default, doesn't it?
Jar Jar Binks' entire race was not even acknowledged in this film.
No, and the thing is, by the third fucking prequel film, Jar Jar Binks was barely acknowledged. I think I reckon Lucas.
I saw some behind the scenes stuff. They did make up some Gungan stuff. It must have just got cut from the final.
It probably would have triggered any of the Star Wars fans that were still scarred.
Honestly, I bet Lucas included him in at the very end just as a fuck you. I bet he did.
Symbolically blows up the prequels though, because when they first shoot the new Death Star Starkiller thing, they're like, the Senate is no more, and then they shoot like a city planet that looks a lot like Coruscant. I know everybody says it's not, but it's almost like J.J. Abrams is symbolically destroying the thing that we hate most.
You know, when I first saw The Force Awakens, it's not that I didn't like it, but I was annoyed at the way that it was. I don't know. It just. I mean, everything about it just seemed like a combination of A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and it was just like.
Well, obviously the story's going to be simple.
I don't blame him for taking such an obvious approach, but it really, I wanted a new fucking story. For the love of God, I didn't want. I've seen these stories before. For Christ's sake,
That's not how Hollywood works anymore now.
I know.
Now they just reboot things instead of making sequels.
Yeah, but the thing is that this is the problem, though, isn't it? Because at no point was I like, oh, good, a black person. But at no point was I like, oh, no, a black person. Or the same with a woman. Oh, good, or oh, no, a woman. I was just like, oh, good story, bad story. But not for Anita. This is her entire opening thing as well. I was pleased to see a woman and a black person. Yeah, but what was the story like, Anita? What?
I'm gonna say something really controversial, though. This movie worked better than Return of the Jedi did.
Wow, that is controversial. I'm gonna let you just twist in the wind on that one, mate. You're on your own.
I thought the movie was really good, and I thought it measured up in some ways to the older films. But I was sort of losing my train of thought there because I just got lost in your sexy voice, Sargon.
So a lot of the stuff that happens in Return of the Jedi doesn't seem to need to happen. A lot of the stuff that happens on the moon, where they hang out with the Ewoks in their village, and Han Solo doesn't even need to be there, and it's the sequel almost feels like it doesn't really have a purpose other than just to blow up another Death Star. And this movie, the blowing up of the Death Star was like actually a very small part of the story. It wasn't the focus.
I was just so annoyed. It's like, oh, we've got a new Death Star. Oh, fuck off. I mean, if you were the Empire or any descendant of the Empire, you'd be like, okay, look, we know that Death Stars don't work. We would have been better building like 1,000 Star Destroyers instead of a Death Star.
I don't know. I would have put my money on this one. It's always that stupid vent, though, isn't it? There's always vent somewhere.
At this point, I would literally be like, okay, we're just going to have to accept that Death Stars are too fragile. I know it's a planet-sized destructo beam-generating machine, but obviously they're too fragile. Let's just build Star Destroyers. They're amazing. Take all those resources, build thousands of Star Destroyers. It's just...
The one thing I will say that I'm disappointed in is the thing that I actually love the most about Star Wars is the art, which is why I collect Star Wars stuff, is because the design of the costumes and the design of the environments it tickles my fancy. And and the one thing about this movie is it didn't let you really absorb a lot of the art. The one thing I wanted was a really good shot of a Star Destroyer ship, and you don't get a single one. You don't even really know what they fully look like in this movie.
Yeah, the movie's real fast-paced.
It's a little too quickly paced. I wanted more time to digest what I was looking at, and it was a fun space adventure set in the Star Wars universe.
It was a lively sci-fi.
Yeah, but this is just J.J. Abrams, isn't it? This is exactly J.J. Abrams' film career, isn't it? Run from place to place with exciting stuff happening.
I'm glad that J.J. was in charge of the reboot because he turned it into something fun. But I'm kind of glad he's not directing the next one because I'm looking forward to seeing what somebody with maybe more artistic, a little bit more of an artistic flair to their style would do with this. Because what happened with Empire is that it was almost entirely taken out of George Lucas's hands. It was written by other people and it was directed by other people, and it ended up being one of the best movies ever made. And it just happens to be set in one of the wackiest universes to ever exist. And I don't know that Disney's going to go down that same route. They're probably just going to make another fun movie for kids. But
you know what actually really impressed me about it's always impressed me about Star Wars, actually. And I know this sounds really weird, but this comes from having DM'd numerous campaigns over about 20 years, right? The idea of what's in a name, there is a fucking lot in a name. A name, and I know it sounds like shallow and petty and silly, but a name is really important. And one of the things that Star Wars has always done is had amazing names for everything. You know, it's all, they're so memorable, they roll off the tongue, they don't sound too silly, you know, even Jar Jar Binks, it's not like, the name itself isn't cringeworthy, it's the character that's cringeworthy, you know? The name isn't great, obviously, it's, you know, but, like, and I was really surprised in this new one, because I look out for good names, you know, because it's like this fucking sixth sense I have now. And it's one of these weird things that I was genuinely thinking, right, they're going to fuck their names up. Because I bet that one of George Lucas's real strengths was naming the characters. And yet, you know, Kylo Ren, that's a good name. You know, it rolls off the tongue. Poe Dameron, you know, it's just like, it sounds like it should be a shit name on paper if you wrote it down, but when you say it, it sounds good. And, yeah, so that's like my fetish, is like good names.
Okay, this was my
we
second
know where
favorite
you...
movie
Right.
that I've seen in theaters. Just, I don't know, I liked it a lot.
There's nothing that turns on Sargon more than an anus with a spectacular name.
Exactly. We just found out what gets him off.
I tell you what, hashtag ass frequency is amazing. As we're talking, I've just got it like updating live in the background, and it's just the most amazing thing in the world. I'm so privileged that I've managed to make this happen. This is great.
This is meaningful not only because it moves Star Wars into a space that better reflects its audience, but because the franchise is huge enough to influence the larger filmic landscape and potentially nudge Hollywood towards consistently telling more inclusive stories. I also appreciated that women were widely present in the film as military commanders, tavern owners, and fighter pilots.
Yeah, but what was the story like? What was the story any good?
And do we even know that this character's a woman? I mean, she was voiced by a woman, but
No,
we know virtually...
It's a woman. Han Solo says she.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It is a woman character.
Yeah, but that's probably just presumptive, isn't it? It's because
they're so gender binary in this fucking.
Yeah, they never ask anyone's pronouns.
There are countless alien races across all of these galaxies, but they're all just like gender binary in every single one.
I just find it sad that she puts so much stock not into the characters, the way that they're developed, the things that they do, the way that they interact with the other characters, anything that they've said, nothing like that. It's just their genders. So focusing solely on their gender makes what they're doing important.
Yeah.
Not the actions, nothing like that. It's just, well, yep, you're a chick. Hey, cool, awesome. This movie's automatically better now because it's just, that's silly.
Yeah,
So
it's the least important feature of any movie, in my opinion. Is, you know, the race and gender and sexual alignment of the characters. Unless there's some, I mean, if it was like Django Unchained, maybe it becomes, you know, race becomes an important factor. But most films aren't about slavery, so it's just like, okay, so I mean, what difference would it make if Luke Skywalker had been written as a black character? It wouldn't. It would mean nothing. You know, what difference would it make if fucking, you know, Poe Dameron was a white character? That is the I've got the right one there, right? The black guy, whatever the black guy's fucking called.
Oh no, that Poe Dameron was the white fighter pilot.
Oh, was it? What was the black guy's name again?
Finn.
Yep,
Played by
Finn.
John Boyega.
Finn didn't.
Oh, that was it.
have
Finn.
a
Yeah.
name. He was just a number when he was down.
That was it. Yeah.
When he was still with the First Order, and then Poe gave him that name.
Yeah, exactly. But what does being black contribute to that character? You know, we never showed any overt racism in the Star Wars universe. And like I say,
it does answer an important question. Is after the original, the prequels, where all the stormtroopers were clones, did they eventually just become normal people? And it does answer that question in the.
Well,
I know a lot of people complain, or they're like, "Oh, the extended universe." They tell you, but some of us only care about what happens in the movies.
Yeah. But the thing is, you could have done that with any character. They didn't have to be black. You know, anyone who didn't look like fucking Boba Fett, you know, you'd have been like, well, it's not a Boba Fett clone. Therefore, you know, we know that the clones must all be dead, and they must be recruiting regular people at some point to become their stormtroopers, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, the fact that he's black isn't the important bit there. It's the fact that he's not Boba Fett, you know. And it's not something I don't care about either way, but this is the point. You know, it doesn't matter that he's black. It matters that he's the character he is. But anyway.
I'm on it, Red Leader.
female pilots were actually filmed for the climactic space battle in Return of the Jedi, but sadly they were cut from the final.
That is true. There were 3 female pilots that were cut from the final.
Yeah, that's so sad. That's just sad.
That is actually quite disappointing, because the only race that was introduced in the 3rd one was a Mexican, and it was like a really stereotypical, like, it was the guy that flew with, what's his name?
I don't know, what is his name?
Anyways, never mind. Anyways, yeah, it was quite disappointing, because it could have actually been, it would have been neat to see more women with lines in the movie, because there's only 2 in the entire
that was like a major complaint about it. And don't get me wrong, it is weird, that only one person in the entire galaxy seems to be married,
Yes.
But the thing is, I didn't really think it was like a reflection of the Star Wars universe or anything like that. I really thought it was a reflection of George Lucas.
Yeah, and very much it was.
Yeah, he's clearly gone through like a messy divorce, and he strikes me as this really idealistic guy who probably got his heart broken a bunch of times.
Yeah, and he hates his fans too.
Does he? Why does he hate his fans?
Well, because Star Wars, he wants Star Wars to just be laser swords and guns, and
so do I.
And everybody else wants it to be a compelling story with laser swords and guns as a framing mechanism. He just wants to see robots get fucking killed. He doesn't care about the story at all in his movies, because the movies that he wrote and directed, the prequels, they play out like a documentary. He clearly doesn't give a fuck about character development or anything like that. He just plays it out like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then a laser sword came out, and then a stormtrooper shot the guy, and then there's a big explosion, and then Anakin got upset.
That really comes across in the prequels when you see the romance between Anakin and fucking Padme, and it's just, oh my god, it's the most cringy thing in the world, isn't it?
Everything is so wooden.
They're in love with each other simply because they're both young, attractive people. That's all we're given. That's all we're given.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's really weird. It's like he doesn't know what like a human romance is like.
No, he doesn't. He has no idea.
It's so bizarre. It's just like, okay, you're creeping me out, Lucas. How?
I think he watched Romeo and Juliet, and he goes, love is roses and fancy.
A gondola.
Words. Yeah, gondola.
Why? Fucking stupid.
The famous gondola scene cut from Romeo and Juliet. Yes.
Got it.
Rey, the young woman at the center of The Force Awakens, is immediately compelling. She isn't stoic or emotionless or hardened by violence.
She's showing off so much calf, though. Look at that.
Yeah, that fucking whore.
It's
Cover
so
up.
much calf.
At least we can't see her ass. That's the important thing. And God, you just can't pause it a good pause on Anita, can you?
From being another example of the tired, strong female character type we've seen too much of these past few decades.
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Are you serious? The tired,
now
strong
she's
female
bitching.
character.
Now she's bitching that there's too many strong female characters.
Well, I don't understand. How isn't... I feel like Rey is the definition of strong. I don't understand what doesn't make her a strong female character. But I'm going to have to head out. A friend of mine just arrived at my place that I was going to go meet up with. So I was just here for the asses. And now that those are gone, I don't even want to hang out with you guys anymore.
Oh, I see. This is your true colors coming through now.
Yeah, I mean, I care more about ass than I do Star Wars, honestly.
I can see that. You son of a bitch. But no, thanks for turning up, man. It's been cool.
Thanks for having me on. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, take it easy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, seriously, like, is she? I mean, haven't feminists been complaining that there aren't enough strong female characters in games and in movies and pop culture in general? Have I been misreading what they've been saying, or is it,
well, there have been complaints that this character is overpowered.
Oh yeah, she's a Mary Sue, right?
Well, yeah, and the funny thing is, like, that's a term that almost never gets used, and all of a sudden it's like all Twitter has been talking about lately is Mary Sue, Mary Sue. It's really funny, but Yeah, no, she's overpowered, and a little bit. The only thing that I found really that she was overpowered in is that she flew the Millennium Falcon so well.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I was quite annoyed about the lightsaber fight as well. I mean, you know, she's had no training with a lightsaber.
Yeah, but Kylo Ren, he was injured, and also he was pissed off, and they demonstrated twice earlier in the movie that when his emotions are out of control, he's out of control, and he was like, his emotions were out of control. He had just killed his father. He was bleeding. He was going ballistic. And she was like learning how to use the Force on her own, the same way Luke was. The first time the first time Luke uses the Force to move anything, he clearly had never been taught to do it. He looks at his lightsaber and tries to pull it over. She does the same thing. The only difference is that we didn't have to wait to the second movie for her to do it.
Yeah, but didn't she almost immediately jump into like mind controlling people?
No. Well, yeah, but she failed at it like 4 times before it finally worked.
Yeah, but still, it just seems like for someone who has never didn't even know they had like Force powers until like, you know, the day before or whatever. Suddenly she's like mind controlling people like a fucking pro, and it's like,
yeah. But you know what though, I give this movie some leeway because the thing you have to realize is this Star Wars isn't Star Wars anymore. It's Disney Star Wars now. And if you're going to enjoy Star Wars, you have to at least come to terms with the fact that it's no longer the 1970s product. It is now Disney. And if you like Disney and you like the way that Disney approaches things, then you are going to like this movie. If you hate Disney, though, this movie is not going to play out the way that you want a Star Wars movie to play out.
I don't think this movie in any way reflects much of any of Disney's products.
Oh no, very, very much it did. There was a lot of Disney moments. I talked a little bit about it in Shu and I did a review, and there's things like when BB-8 first meets R2, he like rolls and bumps him and pulls off the cape, and he's like boo boo boo, and that was like a very Disney moment. And then when Poe Dameron gets caught in the first scene and gets put in front of Kylo Ren, he's like, do I talk? Do you talk? Do I talk? That was like very Pirates of the Caribbean kind of thing, you know? It was
yeah.
There was a lot of like there's a very much a Disney attitude to the way that this movie flowed.
I mean, the same thing could be argued about R2-D2 in the original trilogy. R2-D2 did a lot of what would be probably best deemed as cute things. And R2-D2 just in general is kind of an adorable character. BB-8 is essentially like the modern day equivalent of it. And that's how I viewed this entire movie, is that they just took the original trilogy, looked at that as its foundation, and just want to make a modernized version of it. But this movie is kind of fast-tracking a lot of things so they can get right into the meat of everything else that they're trying to get to, which is why I think, you know, for example, why she was able to get her powers and was in tune with them a little bit quicker than the characters in the other movies. You know, that was their first round with it. Well, everybody already understands what the Force is and all the other shit. Do they need several movies explaining all this and building it up? Could it be better that way? That depends on what they're trying to tell ultimately, but I think that's why they did it faster with this one.
Well, plus I'm sure that everybody going into the movie is going to expect a good guy to use the Force at some point. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it like you said, it's an established thing that the audience is already well aware of.
Yeah, considering we're on movie number 7, so you figure if they took 3 movies to build her up, or even just 2 movies, to build her up into being a prominent character to use all of these techniques and all these skills, that's going to just end up looking exactly like what we've already seen. And sure, yes, they are kind of retelling and reusing a lot of assets from the original trilogy, but that's not a bad thing. This is supposed to be this is, to me, the best way that they've done a new Star Wars movie, because this is what Star Wars should be like in modern times. You know, the prequel trilogy was just trash. Episode 3, I'll give a little bit of leeway because I like some shit from there. But like Episode 2, that's garbage. That's
yeah. Episode 3 was the best of the bad bunch.
Yeah, but that's like saying the skinniest kid at fat camp. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
yeah.
No, it really is. So,
damned with faint praise, you know.
there's good aspects of it, but I like this movie. You know, I really believe that this was one of the best movies I'd seen in theaters. Period. Now, granted, I don't go see a shit ton of movies in theaters, truthfully, but between this, The Dark Knight, and 300, these were like some of my all-time favorite movies to see on the big screen. So much so I want to see them more than once because I just liked seeing them that much. But
yeah, and I think that's why I like the movie so much, is because it like overall was just a spectacular experience.
Yeah. Oh no, big time. And I still wish. Spoiler alert! Ha ha ha! I really wish that at the end, when he turned around and he pulled the hood over his head, he pulled it off. I wish it was Jar Jar Binks so goddamn much. The entire audience would have erupted like a volcano. It would have been spectacular.
Sorry, Ray. Luca's on another island.
I was genuinely disappointed that he took Kylo Ren took his fucking helmet off or whatever. It was just like, you know, in the first film, really, you know, just anything. I don't know. There was no build up, you know. It's.
I didn't like that Luke was in the movie because he had no lines, and he was also in the worst shot in the movie. That's his contribution to Star Wars Episode 7.
I hope he has a really good fucking role in the next film because goddamn, you know.
If you think about it, the entire movie in many ways was kind of a search for Luke. Him showing up in it at the end as the climax was a good breakaway from it because it left you asking tons of questions. And that's what the original Star Wars movie did for people way back then, was it left you with all these questions as to what was going to happen next. And just presuming and assuming and, you know, theorizing what could be happening. I think that was a good point to go with. You know, they mentioned him how many times? You know, she had his damn lightsaber with him. He's essentially public enemy number one of the most feared entities in the entire galaxy, and you don't know why he's gone. You don't know what he's doing, and you're wondering that the whole time while getting to know this entire new cast. And I think they need to blend the old with the new to establish this universe a lot better too.
Okay,
for sure.
All right, fair enough.
Character type we've seen too much of these past few decades. She's resilient and has learned to fend for herself, but she isn't a loner. She's competent and capable, but also recognizes that she has so much to learn, and she welcomes friendship and support on her adventure. The Force Awakens seems to establish...
Yeah, she's a fucking person, Anita, okay? For the love of God.
Establish that this trilogy will focus on Rey's journey in much the same way that the original trilogy focused on Luke's. From King Arthur to Luke Skywalker, we've been taught to associate the traditional hero's journey with male figures. For a franchise as massive as Star Wars to demonstrate that it doesn't always have to be this way is hugely significant.
Man, I hate these fucking lazy, just, oh well, we've been taught. Okay, stop. No, have we been taught? You know? How accurate is this statement when you actually have a look at it? And it's the fucking, look at the judgy expression as well. You know, we've been taught, point. I just feel like I'm being nagged, you know?
Well, that's the thing that's kind of bullshit when you think about it, is that she wants to go and try to spin this as the entire audience, the entire fan base has been groomed, and their mind has been wiped, and we're telling them what they need to revere as a hero, what they need to see as somebody who's capable, and all this other shit. Nobody's ever watched the Star Wars trilogy and thought to themselves, man, only a straight white male is capable of saving the universe. Nobody's ever sat down and really decided to dissect that and think that. They just watched and went, man, Luke Skywalker's a bad motherfucker. Man, Han Solo is totally the best character in the entire series.
Yeah.
He's so awesome.
You know, she doesn't mention Yoda and Chewbacca, obviously, because, you know.
Yeah, but it's just dumb to think, you know, like, she focuses so heavily on their genders that it gets ridiculous. It's not about the characters, it's not about the story, it's not about the world, and we're talking about a fucking universe that includes alien species from all over the galaxy. They're all works of fiction, and we're also talking about things that also include fucking robots and cyborgs and all sorts of other shit. And it's just...
Yeah, no, it's fucking ridiculous. But it's just the way, we've been taught. It's like, Anita, you don't know anything about my fucking life experience, you know? You don't know me, you don't know what I fucking think, you don't know what I've been shown, what I've been taught, what media I consume. You think that because Star Wars is a certain way that it must be it's some way for you, then it must be that way for everyone. It's just like you thinking that everyone is focused on a character's ass when they're walking around in it.
And because Rey is such a winning hero, as the film progressed from one explosion to another and from one massacre to another, I just went with it. Star Wars has previously relegated tremendous slaughter and suffering to the background. In the original film, the entire planet of Alderaan is obliterated, but little heed is paid to the incomprehensible loss. In The Force Awakens, too, genocide on an unspeakable scale is just a bump in the road for the only people who really matter. Rey, Finn, and their ragtag bunch of Republic pals.
Yeah, that's how movies work. There's backdrops to character stories.
This is exactly the same as her saying, look at these strippers in this game, they're not getting a fucking full character arc.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what happens. But I mean, and look at the smug fucking look. Look at that smug fucking look.
She's always got a "I got him" look on her face.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she? But and the thing is, though, I genuinely like the fact that in this the stormtroopers were scary. You know, they actually killed people. I did like that, you know?
Not only that, but the original set-piece design of the helmet, they say that they designed it to look like a human skull. Well, if that was the idea, then the new one looks even more like that.
Mm.
And it is like a genuinely terrifying look. If an army full of like skull-looking guys like that was running at me, I would be legitimately scared.
Yeah, guys, you know, faceless fucking masks and, you know, armor and whatnot. I'd be scared too, man. Fucking terrifying. And it's good that, you know, they actually go on a proper fucking massacre, so you can see they are scary dudes. But I love the idea that, like, well, you know, they're not paying attention to a bunch of characters that we don't even know who they are. We haven't been introduced to them. We haven't got their names, and it's just like, well, why would we want to know about them? You know, we know there was a giant, terrible massacre. That, you know, that's why they're the bad guys, Anita.
The movies don't give the audience time to process the actual scale of the war, the actual loss of life, the actual morality.
Dear God.
Probably because they didn't want the audience to burst into tears.
Or lack thereof.
The war is a backdrop to the story. It is not the story.
It's kind of like the whole Walking Dead thing. Everybody focuses primarily on the characters of it, the zombies, the whole zombie apocalypse. Yeah, that's just the situation.
Yeah,
that is the backdrop. That's what's happening, but we're going to focus on the central characters because, well, that's why they're there in the starring fucking roles.
Well,
if you just want to watch the war, we'll just pan the camera out real big and you'll just watch a bunch of shit explode.
Yeah, Walking Dead, sometimes they even almost forget to put a zombie in the episode. Then they're like, oh shit, zombie, and like some zombie randomly shows up.
Yeah, they do that shit all the time. I've seen people even complain about that, but like, there's not enough zombies. And I'm like, dude, you're kind of watching like a horror drama.
Yeah, do you really need more zombies in The Walking Dead? You know?
And with Star Wars, you know, bitching about like, oh, well, the planet of people that died, you know, it didn't even matter. Do you want to go down there and get to know all fucking like 30 billion of them? I mean, we can go and do that if need be. Let's just go and like right through. That'll be real interesting. It doesn't make any sense. It was a big loss. They did bring it up numerous times. They also did bring up the fact that, like, not only was that horrifying, but this was like the end of so many people because the First Order was going around, or Last Order, going around just killing anybody.
Yeah.
Just letting them know, throwing their weight around, but like, yeah, we can take you the fuck out. This was acknowledged throughout the entire movie that they are a big threat and that they're the second coming of something that they thought was essentially done with.
Hmm.
Conflict. And that's just how they keep us enthralled. As one critic points out in this brutally accurate piece, everything that puts you in the moment when you're watching it falls apart as soon as you turn your brain back on. However, my job is to always think about these things. I don't watch or play anything without thinking about and analyzing the content.
The fuck, you liar.
No, come on. You've got to think about butts an awful lot to really think that, you know, every video game that's third person puts the woman's butt in the center of the screen.
She analyzed every cheek, every crevice, every crack, every single one of them. That was her job. Butts are her job. She just said it for all of you out there. Sargon, I know that you might take butts very serious and you get to know people, but this is her job.
Yeah, she's a professional butt analyst.
Assholes in a very far, far away galaxy. Oh, by the way, apparently Spaceballs 2 is going to happen. So I'm
really?
Yeah. I don't know if it's like a lot of bullshit. But
I didn't even realize Mel Brooks was still alive.
Yeah, well, I'm now fingers crossed because this year's taking away everybody from me. They took Bowie and they took fucking Lemmy. So, I mean,
it's been a fucking bloodbath, hasn't it? It's fucking
it has been. It's been extremely terrible.
Yeah,
and
why?
Left with terrible things.
Yeah, 2016 has just been evil.
Yeah, quite evil. And it was within just like we're not even out of the month yet, and we've had like major deaths everywhere. It's like God.
Don't watch or play anything without thinking about and analyzing the content. And I'm okay with that.
Hang on. Isn't she retiring the series early because she's tired of being Feminist Frequency?
And she's okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure everyone else is okay with that too, but like, you know...
Thinking and critiquing and
she's retiring it early because the sad fact of the matter is that she's made her money and she didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
In doing all of this, like, if you have to make a video just talking about polygon butts and pixel butts, what the fuck are you doing at that point? You're not pushing for equality. You're not helping an industry at all. You're not aiding a gender. You're not doing anything but just showing that there's no gas in a tank. There's not even fumes.
Yeah.
You're just coasting at this point.
Yeah, Margaret McLennan made a video basically with like, Anita, we can tell you're not into this. You know, we can tell that, you know, you've kind of stumbled on something that's very profitable and has got you a lot of attention, and now you're like, kind of stuck with it, you know?
Yeah, she's going through the motions, but, you know, anybody with half a brain that's been paying attention knows that she's been using the entire video game industry as kind of a catapult. Yeah. So that she can go on to bigger and better aspirations. And she never gave a shit about the industry. She didn't give a shit about, you know, about doing something bigger or better. She just cared about getting herself out there. Does she have that entrepreneurial spirit? Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Did she play a lot of suckers? Oh, most fucking definitely. Knocking dominoes down left and right of supporters. But, you know, and for all the people that had just kind of laughed, like we have been, well, yeah, this is just, you know, this is Friday.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, like charting her career really, because I don't think she expected to get quite the welcome in the video game industry that she did get. And I think that she genuinely... I mean, she's a feminist before she's anything else. She's definitely going to go on to have a career in media feminism after video games.
I think the reason she's retiring it early is so that she can do something else instead.
Yeah. She's going to go on to be like a media feminist in some way.
I'm betting she's already been offered a position to do something. It's just a matter of time before that starts happening.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. In fact,
they already chose her as a spokesperson to go to the UN. That means that might have been like her audition.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, if you look at like the rebranding for Feminist Frequency, they've taken her face off of it, you know, and she started using terms like "we" a lot more.
Yeah,
you know?
I was going to mention that she's completely rebranded her thing recently.
Yeah. So
almost like.
I think she's going to leave it. I think she's going to leave it in the hands of someone, you know, a group of like aspiring feminists who will run it into the ground probably, and she'll, like you said, she's probably been offered something else.
Is what gives us better stories. So as enjoyable as the film was, it's still just so Star Wars.
That's the positive.
That's hold the fuck up. Wait a minute. The 7th installment in this is still so Star Wars? Whoa, shit. I was expecting this to turn into Die Hard.
If you can believe it. Just... But that
made no fucking sense. That's like getting to the middle of a taco and then looking up and like, you know, I would finish the rest of this, but it's still just so taco. Why do I even want to eat any more of this? Just someone please just take this so taco away from me.
But the thing is, right, I bet that there's so much effort that went into making this just so Star Wars. You know, I bet they literally combed through the original films, going, right, okay, we should have this in, and that'll remind people of, you know, Han Solo and, you know, Chewbacca and all this sort of stuff. And I bet they put so much work into making it just Star Wars. You know, and she's just
so
like, well,
Star Wars.
Yeah, I look at the smug expression again. Just, Anita, we know you don't give a shit. We know it. You know, for the love of God.
The thing is, with a statement like that, you want to know what that says to me is that she was expecting to watch Star Wars, the seventh installment to Star Wars, and was expecting it to be something completely different. And it's like, don't watch a sequel to a series if you wanted something else entirely. If you were going in expecting, like, I don't know, the Green Mile or some shit, then go watch that. But don't sit there and whine and bitch and say it's so Star Wars. Like, if I pick up Super Goddamn Mario, which that's probably one of the entries in the series that will come out for the NX. If I pick up a Super Mario game, and I'm playing it, and I stop, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to go and review this right now and give it a 0, because it's still just so Super Mario. Well, it's a fat little portly Italian plumber going on an acid trip through the Mushroom Kingdom and having a grand old time going and saving a chick that's more likely cheating on him with a gigantic lizard demon thing. And it's like, that's the whole thing. It was Mario. I fucking knew that.
Yeah, in fact, I was banking on it being like that when I bought the game.
Yeah.
You know, that was exactly what I mean. Literally, like I say, oh well, you know, the new Total War, it involves a lot of troops. It was just so Total War. So yeah, good. Fucking, in fact, I wish Rome 2 had just been so Total War. That would have been lovely.
I wonder if her friends that invited her out to watch Star Wars, whenever she leaned in and whispered, "Man, this is so Star Wars." I hope that they just got up and went to a different seat. And they just left her there. Like, you sit in the fucking front, you stooge. We're done.
Thing is, she's probably paying for it. You know, she probably splashes that cash around.
Probably.
The relationships were held together by wiring that's as flimsy as the inner workings of the Millennium Falcon.
Oh yeah, well dropped there, Anita. As flimsy as the inner workings of Millennium Falcon. How do you do, fellow Star Wars fans?
Rey and Finn care deeply about each other almost immediately. Rey thinks of Han as a father figure after spending a few minutes flying the Falcon together. The film wasn't the least bit concerned with actually developing its relationships, but rather expected us to fill in the gaping holes.
Wait, hold up. She did not think of Han Solo as a father figure within minutes. There is a passage of time that was quite great between a lot of the different scenes, and considering you're running around with people that your lives are in each other's hands, and you're fighting for the greater good of the fucking galaxy, and you know that this person is a fucking legend on top of that, and all of this other shit, you kind of become kindred spirits almost immediately and get to know each other pretty well because you're saving each other's asses, saving the asses of everybody else's in the galaxy. And speaking of asses, Anita, don't you want to just chime in? Because that's front and center in the middle of the screen.
Shouldn't you be glad that they're saving all these asses and not sexualizing them instead? I mean...
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, except for those men's asses. Those don't draw my attention nearly as much.
But the thing is as well, it's like, it was, I don't know, what, 2 hours long? And it's like, you know, it's like... It's not necessarily a reboot, but it effectively is a reboot. You know, it's taking a whole new chapter of the Star Wars saga, and it's got to lay out the groundwork for a lot. You know, an awful lot going forward. So it's like, you know, I mean, I'm usually quite critical of that sort of stuff as well. But even I was happy to give Star Wars a bit of a fucking pass on that, because there's a lot to set up and they've got a lot to sort of lay out. Fine, you know, whatever. You know,
but they did it well.
Yeah, they did it all right, yeah.
Extremely well in the movie. I've watched countless movies that had multiple different story arcs over, I don't know, like 3-4 different movies that didn't have nearly the amount of compelling storytelling, action, or even character development that Star Wars did. Not to sit there and sound like, oh man, riding its fucking dick right on to Happy Town, but it did what it needed to do for the first installment of many.
Yeah. Yeah,
and Cinder complaining about that. Oh well, they were like into each other almost immediately. Man, I can't even tell you the amount of people I've seen fall head over heels for somebody by just looking at them.
Well, they didn't even establish it as a romantic thing. The whole time it seemed like it was a friendship. I never got the idea that they were actually in love with each other.
They just seemed to be two people who needed to cooperate with each other, didn't they?
Right, exactly. Like, and I didn't really feel like in any way that that was not represented in their actions.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think she was talking about Han Solo and Rey. Rey? Yeah, it was Rey. You're not Ren. Yeah, Rey. But either way, you know, it's like, for fuck's sake, there was a lot going on in the story. You know, that kind of compresses things down.
But the portrayal of interpersonal relationships and character development is where film excels. It's through witnessing connections form, deepen, become strained and renewed that a film can open itself up to us as viewers and let us relate to the incredible emotional human experiences the characters are having on their journeys.
So that's what Anita prefers in a film. You know, I mean, you know, Michael Bay makes millions and millions of dollars blowing shit up in his films. You know, with character relations that are literally like, you know, millimeter deep. Yeah. No, I mean, I can't name you a single Michael Bay character, you know, but I can name you dozens and dozens of. Yeah, but this is the thing, isn't it? But this is the thing, though. She's just describing what she wants out of a film. It's like, you know, Anita, you're telling us your personal preferences, which is interesting. And I could have figured all this out with 10 seconds and access to your ass. But like, this is like, it's not very interesting to hear about your preferences when we're not talking about that kind of film. You know, I mean, I watched a film the other day when I was in fucking Andorra, right? And it was the most depressing film I'd ever seen. It was this Spanish girl goes to the Himalayas, I think, in Tibet, and she basically goes around making everyone really sad. And she goes somewhere, that person gets sad. She goes somewhere else, that person gets sad. And wherever she goes, people's lives just fall apart, you know? I'm not necessarily saying it's connected to this character, but it was obviously meant to make you feel very deeply for things. But I was just there, like, I was kind of drunk in bed just watching it. It's like, this is just the worst fucking film I've ever seen in my life, you know? But it sounds exactly like the sort of thing that Anita wants to watch. You know, incredible, emotional, human experiences.
She wanted to watch something completely different, and she already didn't like Star Wars to begin with. Went and watched a Star Wars movie, found aspects of it that she could say something positive about, which was, hey, I'm really glad that they have black people and chicks in it. And I'm like, well, black people and chicks have been in the past Star Wars movies, but we're not going to sit there and bring that up at all because that won't fit the narrative of today's review. It just, it's just, holy fuck!
Yeah, and then she's literally like, well, I kind of prefer like incredible emotional human experiences that characters have on their journeys. Like, yeah, but we're talking about a series that is most famous for laser sword fights. You know, that's the most famous aspect of Star Wars love. You know, we're not talking about what you're talking about. Get fucking used to it.
Along with flimsily
the most famous character in the series is a giant man in a rubber suit.
He's like they're space Nazis, Anita. Yeah. They're space Nazis. They have laser swords and have magic powers.
You know, speaking of space Nazis, holy shit. So the whole order thing, they totally are Nazis.
Yeah,
in every way. I kept watching it, and I'm sitting there with my best friends, and I was just like, dude, if Hitler rolls out, I won't even be fucking surprised at this point. They might as well just say it outright.
Okay, since we're on the subject, what was the deal with like the Emperor Palpatine figure from the new film? He kind of reminded me of the thing from Prometheus, the jockey from Prometheus.
Well, all we know about him is things that are going to make us ask questions.
Yeah.
Like, he prefers to show his entire body in giant form in holograms.
Yeah. I figure he's not actually that big, right?
So I'm betting, well, no, clearly isn't, but the old Emperor used to do the same thing. He used to do giant head hologram. I think what it's going to turn out is that he's actually like Yoda size. Like, he's really small.
Yeah.
He's more likely going to be decrepit as shit looking. It's just, man, the only thing I didn't like about him was I was expecting him to say something about his precious, and it never happened. Never once. And that was always disappointing.
No, I'm glad that they didn't do that. Oh my god, that would have ruined the
movie. So he starts petting Kylo Ren. My precious. Just get it over with, man.
He did look like a cross between Gollum and the fucking jockey from Prometheus, though.
Dude, it was a weird design. I mean, I liked it. I like that they had him projected as like this big Goliath-looking character because they gave him more of a presence. But I'm sure that he's probably sickly and dying and all sorts of fucked up. I mean, he's probably real powerful with, using his Sith Force powers and shit, and he's gonna, like, rain lightning down on some fucking mofos, but it's one of those things that I just want him to say precious just once, that's all. I don't ask for much.
Man, I tell you what, anything other than Yoda doing backflips and lightsaber fights, anything that's not that, I don't care. I loathe that more than anything. It was just... It's as if whoever wrote that in didn't understand what the character of Yoda was. I assume it was George Lucas, who doesn't understand his own fucking characters. But just honestly, I'm still baffled by it now. I mean, I'm still baffled by it. It's like, okay, what have you got? You've got two decrepit old men who are meant to be masters of magical powers. What you can do? Oh, let's have another sword fight. What? As if... Oh, so I'm not going to... I'm going to...
Dude, I was more bothered whenever Yoda showed up in Soul Calibur, and I was like, wait, hold the fuck up. You can't do that. Don't do that. And then they did that, and I was like, why? Why the fuck did you do that? This shit does not work at all. And there's people who are like, no, man, it's awesome, because Darth Vader's OP as shit. And I'm like, yeah, he's a broken fucking character to use, but that doesn't mean he fits in Soul Calibur.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Relationships, The Force Awakens also faithfully duplicates another aspect of the earlier films, and it's the main reason why I will probably never be a huge Star Wars fan. The binary nature of its depiction of good and evil is really reductive. The rebellion versus the Empire in the original trilogy, the Republic versus the First Order in The Force Awakens. It's also simplistic that it inevitably
So she's
becomes
complaining that the plot lines and are too simple. She's complaining that the characters are too simple and the story's too easy to follow.
Yeah, she's complaining that it's not Game of Thrones.
Dude, Game of Thrones is easy to understand. Every character you like is dead. Yeah.
She's not even remotely qualified to tell us who is or what is and isn't too simple a storyline. She's not that kind of critiquer.
Not just that, but think about all the different things in the world, I'm talking that span everything, that are based off of a very simple premise or can be broken down into the simplest forms and shown that what makes it is just simple compounds. It just not much goes into it. It's just this simple formula, and they can turn out to be the most intricate, the most beautiful, the most engrossing, the most interesting, the ones that make you stop and think, but she's trying to make it out to be that it's everything but.
Well, we already know that they are. I mean, like, just just the most popular films are always the ones with the most streamlined stories, where there's actually room to breathe. You don't have to spend all of this time like explaining the real complex details of the plot. You can actually, expand the characters a bit rather than worrying so much about the fineries of the plot. And there's a reason that the monomyth exists. There really is. It's because a good story basically has certain parts. Otherwise, it becomes a less good story, and you have to work really, really hard to sort of get around that. And honestly, I don't think most directors and writers are up to that, and it's not their fault. I mean, you've got to be brilliant to be able to really buck the trend and break the formula,
I mean, even if she wants something that's going to break the mold and be extremely insane with the amount of detail that goes into it, and something that's kind of confusing to the everyday movie watcher, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
That doesn't equate to a fantastic film. If I watch something and I have to kind of just pay attention to every single sentence, every single background detail, every single subtle glance a person makes, if there's all this crap within the world, is that automatically going to make it good? No. Good writing doesn't need to be over the top. It can just be simple, basic, and Star Wars has proven that for decades now.
Yeah, but the thing is, like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg have really set the mold. I mean, look at Indiana Jones. It's not like it's complex storytelling, but it's
Indiana Jones is. It was created by two people that were acting like kids playing adventures in backyards. Like that is the story.
Yeah. And it turns out to be absolutely a compelling series of films. It's like, apart from the last one, obviously. But you know, she's just, I don't know, she just seems like one of those snooty arts critics who's just like, well, I mean, it's not as good as it could be, is it? You know, it's fuck off.
Well, whatever. Who fucking cares? At least there's not too many asses in it. Shut up.
That is true. Asses are covered up.
Yeah, no, that's true. I didn't see a single butt crack in the whole thing. I couldn't read a single person in that film. I didn't get it.
This is just this woman. Just nothing is ever good enough for this woman. What do people have to bleed for you? Do we all have to bleed for you, Anita?
Bleed from the ass for you, Anita?
For you.
Well, she was complaining about too much violence, so no, that won't make her happy either. She's not Elizabeth Bathory, though she is on that level.
That's true. Anyone who doesn't know who Elizabeth Bathory was should Google her and then get used to the idea of her actually bathing in blood.
Elizabeth Bathory is amazing. Also, the band Bathory, also fucking phenomenal. Just pointing that out.
A deeply conservative narrative.
Oh, conservative.
In Star Wars, people have fates for which they are destined. With a few notable exceptions, good people are inherently good, and evil people are inherently evil.
Thing is, she seems to be missing the point that it's meant to be like a fairy tale, you know? It's meant to have this sort of mystical dimension to it, which is why, like, midichlorians were such a fucking kick in the nutsack, you know? Yeah. It's meant to be almost spiritual in a lot of ways. That's entirely the point, and one of the best ways to get that across is to have, like, a religious atmosphere of good and evil in the thing, you know?
But she kind of shot herself in the foot by saying that, because almost all the evil characters and the good characters in Star Wars have tons of layers to them. You know, they've all had questionable actions. And I mean, shit, the entire prequel trilogy was about seeing Anakin Skywalker become Darth Vader.
Yeah, as ham-fisted as it was, I mean, he wasn't like a two-dimensional character. He was just done really badly.
Oh yeah, he was done badly, but I mean,
he was a two-dimensional character. If all you had to go on was Anakin Skywalker from the prequels, and you'd never seen the original, he is like extremely two-dimensional.
Yeah, okay, maybe, but I mean, the thing is, I'm looking at the entire character of Darth Vader. You know,
even when Darth Vader was originally created for the very first movie, he wasn't, like, supposed to be some sort of epic...
No, and you could tell, couldn't you? He was just meant to be a hatchet man or something.
He's just like... He was like Christoph Waltz's character in Inglourious Basterds. That's what he was. He wasn't, like, some iconic...
I love that he became Space Jesus. I love it. It's just like...
He ended up becoming Space Jesus in the end. And it's like Lucas just fucking has his head so far up his own ass. He has no idea what makes a compelling character.
And it was all meant to be about Luke, wasn't it? You know, that was the thing. It was all meant to be Luke is like the one who's just, you know, or you know, he's the important character, but Darth Vader was just so much cooler. You know.
Well, here we could even take this movie right here and talk about Kylo Ren.
Darth Vader is? I have a life-size Darth Vader in my living room. That's how much I love Darth Vader.
You fucking nerd.
Yeah.
I don't feel that Kylo Ren's one-dimensional, for example. If you pay attention to everything about the character, he's got a lot of different sides to him and a lot of shit that you can read into. You know, I don't even think the dude's, like, inherently evil. I think that he's pretty much just trying to live up to a legacy and is already this far in and was like, fuck it, I'm going all the way.
Yeah, no, you know what, I really underestimated Kylo Ren's character when I first saw it. I was more annoyed that there were so many callbacks to the old movies. I was just... Honestly, I was genuinely pissed off about it. I genuinely was expecting, like, a new movie. But
I was pleasantly surprised with Kylo Ren. I thought,
yeah, that was the thing. I came to like him.
I thought I was going to hate him going into the movie. I thought somebody, a friend of a friend, said, "Isn't he the new Dark Vader?" And we all had a good laugh. But really, like this, for people who don't know Star Wars, yes, this is supposed to be the new Dark Vader, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. But then when he takes off the mask, it turns out he's this whiny, tormented child. That it gave him such an incredible dynamic that I never expected from this character.
Yeah, me too. And I really didn't appreciate it when I first watched it either. I was really just like, oh, he's just some fucking kid, you know. I didn't take the time to think about it, and she's like, oh well, you know, everything's got no fucking depth whatever. It's like, fuck off.
Oh no, he's got tons of depth.
Yeah.
if you look at him whenever he was interacting with Rey, it was both him being kind of excited at the fact that he could teach somebody, and he finally would have control over some shit. Yeah. And then also being like horrified at the same time that somebody's on his level and can do similar shit that he can do. And this is somebody that he's got Darth Vader's blood coursing through his veins, and he wants to live up to a legacy that is known throughout the universe. I mean, that's a very tall order, pun intended. But
and the thing is, he brings it on himself as well. You know, he's the one.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, he's human. Like, him going in, like, there's tons of memes out there of him like throwing shit fits, and some people have tried using that against the character, and I said no, that makes a lot of sense. Think about if you were his age, and then you're doing all the shit that he is. There's going to be points that you freak the fuck out, and you just want to murder everybody. And when you're that powerful, you totally can.
Yeah.
Oh, side note, my absolute favorite moment of the movie was when two stormtroopers were walking down the hall, and he's throwing a shit fit, and they turned around.
And
those stormtroopers are played up to be hardened men, and they are afraid of Kylo Ren because
they were scared shitless.
That off the rails.
Dude, like, you see all this shit going on, like sparks shooting out and all the noise, and it's bad. It's bad news. And they're walking up with guns in hand, and they're just like, nope. I'm just like absolutely fucking done. And
that was spectacular.
I like that. This is somebody that took a straight shot from Chewbacca. This is something that's like capable of annihilating anybody, and he's still fighting.
Yeah,
you know, this is a dude that decided that he was going to prove that he's totally worth it, that he's going to ascend to that next level. And, I mean, he went one-on-one against Han Solo, the legendary bandit, the one dude that's wanted across the entire galaxy, another legend, just like Luke Skywalker. And he went right there and just did him in.
See, I'm just looking at the chat. I mean, a bunch of people like Kylo Ren's an autist. And it's like, yeah, he damn well is, you know. And like, people like,
that's the point.
Exactly. He's not like he's not self-aware, you know. And this is the thing. He's not in control of his emotions. He doesn't really, but he's really powerful. And you know that is an excellent combination because he's liable to do something he really regrets, like I don't know, murder his father or something. You know,
the thing is, he's powerful and he's driven and he's ambitious. And despite the fact that he's got faults to him, that makes it a lot more of an interesting character who has depth.
Absolutely,
he has faults.
You can't have characters without flaws. You can't have it. They are shit characters every time. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I've got into so many debates with people about the whole Kylo Ren situation, and I told them through and through. I said, if you think that he's a terrible character, especially like in terms of like what a Sith should and shouldn't be, I said, you're a fucking fool.
Yeah,
there's no way that he's a bad character by any means, and you've had a whopping one movie to get to know him.
Yeah, and you don't know how the character's going to progress, because I mean, murdering your own father. I mean, he's not an emotionless fucking. He's not heartless, you know. He's you know. He's gonna. This is surely going to change him, you know.
Dude, you
Speaking
can even
of
tell.
A straight shot from the Wookiee bow. I don't understand why Han Solo spent like 3 or 4 minutes of the movie using Chewbacca's gun. What the fuck was that about?
Yeah, it was. You know, Han Solo was kind of cringy.
Chewie's gun. He's like, I like this, and he's like, Chewie's got nothing to use now, you asshole.
You already have a gun. Just fucking use your normal gun, for the love of God.
And Chewbacca's so easy to hit because he's basically a big furry tree.
You know what I think? Here's my prediction: is the point of that scene was so that Han Solo could be like, "I love this gun," so that future fans, because Chewie's sticking around, will be like, "Yeah, you got the Han Solo seal of approval."
But it's Chewbacca. You don't need that.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, it's fucking Chewie, man. What the fuck are you gonna... Anyway, we'll carry on.
When a person does change sides, it occurs completely without any complexity or ambiguity. History seems...
What? Is she suggesting that fucking... What's-his-face, Finn, changed sides without any complexity or ambiguity?
Again, it was already established that the entire time he was not into this whole thing, and he was kind of just thrust into it against his will.
Yeah, but I mean, he sees this massacre, and you can tell it really affects him, you know?
Yeah,
it's
big time.
Yeah, exactly.
Was the opening shot.
Exactly. It's the foundation of the character of Finn is that he's coming to, he's a stormtrooper. He's seen this massacre. He's like, right, nope, this is way too much for me. I need to get out of this. And then he goes on this fucking daring escape to get out of it. As if that's not complexity, for fuck's sake.
and he's on right now. He's on a journey to become a better person, and then is trying to prove himself to be something like worthy of all these people that are around him that he's kind of looking up to now. Yeah,
absolutely. And not only that, I mean, how scary must that be, abandoning any kind of structure that you have in your life to then, I mean, just become a rebel or whatever, fucking...
Not just that, but abandoning something that is going to eventually kill you, or try to.
Yeah, that you're gonna get hunted down as a traitor, which is always worse,
Traitor!
Oh, it's always the worst.
Here she's starting to complain that that history is repeating itself, as in that no matter what, the same thing's going to happen over and over again. Like, that's a bad thing. Like, maybe that's the fate of this universe, is that no matter what they do, this struggle will be forever. Like, really, like the thing was that there's supposed to be balance in the Force, and really there is. For every good Jedi that pops up, a bad Jedi or Sith pops up too. There's always, one against one, and that seems pretty balanced to me. Before it wasn't. Before there was like thousands of Jedi and there was only 2 Sith. Yeah. That wasn't balanced. Anakin Skywalker did bring balance to the Force because he killed all the other fucking Jedi, and then there was only 1 Jedi and 1 Sith, and that's balanced.
Good job, Anakin.
The whole thing of her saying in negative fashion that history is destined to repeat itself in this galaxy far, far away. Newsflash, our world, the real mudball that we're on, has had history repeat itself more times than we can count because humans are stupid.
Yeah, and we're witnessing it repeat itself right now. It's pretty incredible.
And I mean, in seeing the shit that she spewed, it's regression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Destined to repeat itself in this galaxy far, far away. There will always be a rebellion or republic fighting for freedom, and every crushed empire will be replaced by a new First Order. Narratives like this work to reinforce the mythology that good and evil are clear absolutes that are in constant struggle. And in such a universe, lasting systemic change is not possible.
You know what the irony of this is that good and evil are completely subjective terms, but they are absolutes, If you can choose any conqueror and anyone who was conquered in the past, and they will do exactly that. They will present their conqueror as absolute evil and themselves as absolute good. There is just no other way of presenting it, because
the thing is, good and evil is subjective,
of course,
and it's just a matter of perspective. You can ask anybody out there look at the things that she is deemed as being corrupt, and terrible, and need to be changed, and now ask the creators of said works how they would feel about an individual like her, where she's obviously basking herself in some holy light of righteousness. That's all a matter of perspective.
Yeah. But that's the point, isn't it? Like, if you're looking at it from the perspective of the conquered, then the person conquering you is evil, and you are, of course, good. And the reverse is obviously true when you're looking at it from the different perspective. But it's always going to be that way in a war, Every war, nobody in a war is like, well, maybe they're all right, Maybe we shouldn't kill them, Maybe we should be nice to them.
I mean, the act of genocide is pretty fucked up, but I mean, they make a pretty good pizza. So,
yeah,
I mean, fuck it.
The Nazis make a compelling point. Maybe there is a Jewish conspiracy. I mean, maybe we should let them wipe us out.
Okay, moving along.
The Force Awakens
this is where shoe usually comes in handy and stops you from putting your foot in your mouth.
Honestly, I'm about my 5th glass of Metaxa. This is brilliant.
To subvert, complicate, or at least play with this good versus evil binary, but didn't seize on them. I was intrigued by Finn's resistance to his lifelong conditioning and his obvious horror at acts of violence and torture, but it took all of a few moments until he was more than fine killing the bad guys.
Isn't it that he didn't really have a choice?
TR8R, woo! Represent TR8R!
But seriously, isn't it really that he didn't really have a choice but to kill the bad guys? I mean,
He had to. It was
yeah.
that or just lay down and die. And what would have been the point of I mean, for fuck's sake, he's trying to save the galaxy and save his own bacon. all in one fell swoop. He's saving the lives of other people. I mean, for fuck's sake, this doesn't make any sense.
It's a war movie, fundamentally. All of Star Wars is war movies, you know? It's just, of course there's killing, of course there's fighting.
You know, Finn, damn it, why didn't you, whenever you said traitor, you were supposed to turn around, pull out your fucking dinette set, sit the fuck down and have some goddamn tea.
So tell me why you think I'm a traitor.
Yeah, but
how does that make you feel?
Like, you need Dr. Phil to come in and decide to do some group therapy with you, and then the entire nation can just facepalm collectively.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course they're gonna have a fucking fight. Jesus Christ.
Even though he had just been one of them. Weren't they raised from childhood to be
That is so ineloquent, the way she just put that. Even though he was just one of them.
That was even more reason to fight. I mean, that's it's the fact that he's a traitor that makes them want to fight him even more.
Yeah, like, he wanted out of that shit before the movie started. This was established not once or twice. That's the entire, like, point to his character even start doing the shit that he's doing. He wants to get away from all that. He got thrust into it, didn't want to deal with all that, wanted to start doing some good, found a way to start doing some good. Yeah, but he was, like, just with them. No shit, Sherlock. I'm pretty sure they had him under lock and key. Do you think that you just waltz out the fucking exit door and then you go onto your fucking YouTube channel and talk shit about Last Order? Like, it doesn't work that way.
This is suddenly really relevant, isn't it? This is what Anita thinks. Fucking, seriously, it's like every time they're like, "Oh, this athlete is an overnight success." It's like, no, that dude's been training for decades to become an overnight success. For fuck's sake, you know what I mean? There is obviously implied that there is a story before the actual events of the film, Anita. For Christ's sake.
Was in a military machine just like him? Don't they have the same potential for good that he does? Are their lives so expendable?
I honestly don't mean to make these pause faces. I really don't.
How many of them have tried to do the same exact thing, were killed, and how many of them just aren't central characters to a plot line in the movie? I can tell you that there's probably millions out there that have wanted to leave, were too scared to leave. I mean, if you have to, again, she's going and splitting hairs, and then splitting the hairs even more to find fault and find issue with something that there is no issue with it. The character is becoming a good guy and getting away from all the bad shit. Now you're bitching that all the other ones weren't leaving with him. That's because they'd be fucking massacred, or they actually like being a part of that because they're fucked up.
Yeah, well, because they were raised that way from childhood or something. But I love this. Are stormtrooper lives so expendable? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're stormtroopers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm afraid to say that.
The point of the stormtrooper is that they eat it by the bucket load. They
I mean, seriously, like, all I can think of is the fucking Plinkett review, right? Where in the third fucking prequel film, and they're flying towards a goal, and Anakin's like, "I'm going to go back for that stormtrooper." And it's like, why? And he's just like, they're clone troopers, and you must have lost hundreds of thousands of them at this point in the war, and you're actually going to go back and rescue this one guy, are you?
We get another hashtag going, Stormtrooper Lives Matter. Please. Oh, God. Because at this point, it makes sense. And I'll make it, like, I can't even fathom in any part of her fucking brain, like, if I dived right into the gray matter where she thought, well, all those stormtroopers, what about their parents? Who the fuck cares? They're getting shot. What about the one that bumped his head? Like, do you not care about him during that scene? He looked like a fucking fool, and they kept it in the final movie. Stormtroopers' lives matter. Like,
and the thing is, right, if you actually look at, like, just go back to, like, World War II, on, like, the fucking, or World War I, on the Western Front, they're losing, like, I don't know, 20 or 30,000 men a day. You know, and it's like, are their lives expendable? Yeah, in war that happens. You know, when you have industrialized warfare, yes, lives are expendable.
Yeah, Canada lost a shit ton of troops in World War One just to one hill called Vimy Ridge.
Yeah.
Like 200,000 Canadians died at Vimy Ridge.
And you know what, right? And even like 100 years before that, like when the British were fighting Napoleon, Napoleon is quoted as saying, you know, the Germans can't beat me because I spend 30,000 lives a month. You know, I mean, that was considered a lot back then, obviously. But the point is, he even then, he viewed it in how many lives he spends. You know, yeah, they're fucking expendable, they're soldiers, that's what they do. You know, it's not nice, it's fucking war, Anita. That's why it's dangerous. That's why it's a backdrop to the whole fucking series. Is because war is horrible and dangerous, and people die, and it's scary. And what they are then doing is by default fucking brave, because you know otherwise you would just crawl up and curl up into a ball and start fucking weeping, wouldn't you?
I feel like the British national anthem should have been playing in the background for that speech.
Well, I would have said the Canadian one, but I don't know how that goes. So. I don't think anyone does this.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love.
Go on.
By all the sun's command. That's right.
You don't sound very patriotic. I think you're about to defect to the United States or something.
No.
It's because you're getting some, isn't it? The Americans have lured you away.
I spend a lot more time in the United States.
Oh, see, here we go. Fucking go on. Tell us how you defected.
But I have no intention of becoming an American.
Are you saying that you're betraying the crown?
The crown? What a joke.
Oh, that's it. Fucking it's on.
We asked very politely in 1986 to no longer be part of the crown, and she said okay and signed us over. So that's what I think of the crown.
Hey, look, just take it from an American. Just stay in Canada. Trust me, it's much better there.
Yeah, here's the United States from a Canadian perspective. Worst case scenario, there's a real possibility that the American presidential election can be between two people that wear wigs. That is what we think of the United States.
To be fair, you got feminist prime minister, didn't you? So I don't blame you for defecting.
That was a real kick in the fucking nuts. But I didn't vote for Liberal. I haven't for a long time.
Are you saying you're a dirty conservative?
I've been voting NDP because they're shaking shit up, and they're
so who are the NDP?
They're going to cost us a lot of money, but they've been holding the conservatives accountable for their fucking up. I'm really hoping they're going to do the same.
Sorry, who are the NDP? Sorry.
Oh, New Democratic Party. We don't have a two-party system in Canada.
No, we don't here. So that's why.
Yeah, no, you don't there either. But it's just like I mean, a lot of your audience is American, so I thought I'd just explain that.
No, that's true.
Because they're used to just two parties, like that means anything.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, liberals and conservatives have basically been in power forever, but the New Democratic Party is the first third party, national party that has actually really been getting attention. They were the main opposition in the last period, which was awesome because they did an amazing job, and I was hoping they'd get that again, but they didn't, and that's the end of Canadian politics. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Expendable? I was reminded of the cult favorite sci-fi show Farscape and the long process that Aaron Sun went through to emotionally heal from her military indoctrination and understand the horror of what she was trained to become.
Oh, come on. You're not honestly going to compare a film with a series, are you? You know, each episode is an hour long.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, is they get to run in syndication of, at least like 20 episodes per season, and then you have something that's like tons of hours long versus this. They could take their good old time with Star Wars if they were releasing it, you know,
episodically, yeah.
Well, okay, but technically somebody's going to call us out for that. Okay, yeah, the movie series is episodically, but we're talking about TV format, so fuck you to anybody out there who wants to be a technical cunt.
Yeah,
like George R.R. Martin has 10 hours to tell his story in every season of the show, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not in any way the same fucking thing, Anita. But go on, compare apples to oranges.
Of course,
Go on.
storytelling in cinema has to be more economical.
Oh,
than
okay.
on
Well, she did at
television.
least address that.
But The Force Awakens acts as if these moral concerns don't even exist. As I've said about 1 trillion times, we can love media and be critical of it at the same time.
Or we could just be critical of it, you know?
We can also not know shit about it and be critical of it.
Yeah, we could literally not watch it, not play it, but still whinge about it on the internet.
Yeah, and then we can spread that around as if it's somehow worth listening to, and if anything, it's just a good comedy skit.
Yeah, and you know, we can make like, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it as well. It's fucking
Oh
incredible.
yeah, absolutely. Oh, and then retire early, because I mean, why continue with this charade?
Oh yeah. Hang on a sec, sorry.
And I think this film is a grand test of this very mantra. As I watched the movie, I was thinking about how fun it would be to cosplay as Rey with my own BB-8 rolling around by my side.
Yeah, don't lie to us, Anita. Look at that face. Do you think...
I'm not a fan of Star Wars, but I'd like to cosplay as one of the characters.
Yeah.
Allow me as I tuck my head further into my ass, which you cannot look at because it is conveniently covered.
Yeah, no, fuck off, Anita. No one believes you. I mean, you're literally like, hello, fellow Star Wars fans. You know,
Yeah.
you are now Steve Buscemi holding a skateboard.
Wait a
Fucking-
minute, is that trending? I'd better get triggered. Dun, 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 dun.
Hang on, is someone sending me disagreement on the internet?
But once the ride is over and I'm left to contemplate the substance of what The Force Awakens offers, it all falls apart. Rey's journey isn't over yet, though, and
It
there's
all falls
opportunity
apart,
for the next few
just
films
like
to develop
this
the
video.
characters in more substantial ways, and to complicate the simplistic lens through which the series has always framed notions of good and evil. If they do that, I just might become a Star Wars fan after all.
Bollocks.
She's not the only character in the movie, though, idiot. There's other characters for other.
Yeah, but they're
But
not
they don't
women.
because they're not women.
Yeah, there's got to be time for, like, pardon the harshness of the way I put this, but there's got to be time for the black character to have equally the same moment in, you know, the diversity pool. You know, like, it's not all about giving time for the female character for the female audience. There's
No,
other
totally.
audience members in the theater.
This is the exact reflection, though, of her mindset. Here's all the things that I'm interested in. Well, they didn't play prominently throughout the entire movie, so now I'm going to take issue with it, and I'm going to just complain about everything.
Basically.
As if it's an actual problem.
Honestly, that is exactly the fucking... I mean, none of this is important, that's the thing.
No.
You know, her critiques are not important. They're not relevant. She's saying, look, I'm not a fan of this, I don't really know about this, with anything that she does. But she is a feminist. And to be fair, right, people probably think that this isn't true, but she's actually a really influential feminist. She's actually really good at being a feminist. She's just really bad at anything else she critiques, because she's not, like, you know, interested
The thing is,
in it.
she can be a feminist and she can be interested in politics and all that shit, but the thing is, she's been using mass media as a platform to be able to get recognized and noticed, and to her credit, it's worked, 50-fold without a doubt, and she's become, financially successful because of that. So now, not only is she a household name the world round, but I mean, she's critiquing things that it doesn't make sense about it. Do I like hearing the perspective of somebody that doesn't know anything about a series, get to watch it or play it or listen to it for the first time, and then give their views on it? Yeah, it can be very interesting. But she's trying to go and break this down in such a way and shit on it for all the wrong reasons. Like 90% of her arguments that she brings up don't make any sense, because they're not really taking away from the movie in the way that she's trying to put it. It's just because they weren't things that she wasn't interested in, or
Yeah.
at least they weren't things that she was interested in that would...
Or they weren't feminist, you know?
No, they weren't.
Exactly.
They weren't feminist, is essentially what it is.
They weren't feminist frequency enough. So if she's going to sit there and like play them up on the show, it wouldn't work to her benefit, which that would
Yeah,
kill
no,
the show.
absolutely. Sorry, I'm just... I'm trying. There was a Polygon did a little article.
Polygon.
Yeah, no.
Was that an insult saying it was just a wee little article?
No, it literally. Look, right? They've got what probably amounts to about 3 paragraphs here. Listen, that's a hard day at work for whoever wrote this, Allegra Frank. But so they literally obviously just linked to her video in this article, and they posted this on Facebook. And my friend, one of the guys that we'll be doing D&D with, if you guys are if you're interested, Alfred Mason, he follows Polygon on Facebook just because he loves watching their own following slaughter them in the comment section. And so they posted this, and the top comment was literally just, "Stop giving this woman attention, Polygon." It had like 3 times more likes than the actual thing itself, and it's just like, oh, that is just wreckage right there.
Polygon has been a train wreck of
Oh,
a
God,
site for years now, and it's really a shame because it shouldn't be that way. But when you have the wrong people in charge, that they've got their own MO.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of shit that you come to expect, is all this biased bullshit. And I already know that they're no fans of mine, which if they ever come across this video, happily go fuck yourselves, please and thank you.
Yeah, the Polygon are obviously the worst, but right, okay, I think we've probably been going for about long enough, really, haven't we? I'm quite drunk, so I haven't really got anything else to say.
Yeah, I think we got to talk about butts in space butts. I like that. That ass is absolutely out of this world. So I like that.
Yeah, ass in space, spectacular episode.
Honestly, I very much enjoyed this chat, but I think we should all thank Anita for being our clown for the evening.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for her saying
Thank you,
stupid
Anita,
shit,
for coming out of the small car.
if it wasn't for her saying stupid shit, we wouldn't be able to enjoy these conversations. So
Technically, that is something to note, and other people have brought up. And we're like, yeah, but if she ever went away, we wouldn't have something to laugh at. It was like, valid point, cannot argue.
it really is. It's like, oh, one day she'll stop saying stupid stuff, and I won't be able to laugh at it. I'll have to find someone else to laugh at.
That is something to think about, though, is that if you have so many people universally, even some of her, not just detractors, but we're talking about some of her used-to-be supporters, but now ex, who are looking at her as nothing but a joke, where do you go from there?
I think you get a job at McDonald's or something.
When you were literally just like a sideshow, I don't even know why continue into season 2. No one will care.
I don't understand the concept of seasons when you're like doing internet videos. Like, what are you talking about? Seasons? What?
Yeah, that shit's ridiculous. But I can't wait for an episode about nipples in games, because I'm sure that's gonna spur some controversy and a lot of talk around the water cooler. So I can't wait for that.
There was one of the future videos is titled "Fighting and Fucking Are Not the Same Thing," and I was just like, okay, brilliant. On Twitter, I can't wait for a fucking Puritan pacifist to teach me about fighting and fucking. This is going to be amazing. She is literally opposed to these things. So, okay, go on. I can't wait. I really can't wait until she gets them out. We'll do another one when she does, because it's going to be fucking... Honestly, I'm on the edge of my seat for these episodes, Anita. Come on. Get them out, girl. You're only, she said that she was only going to reduce them to like 5 minutes as well, didn't she? Like 5-6 minutes or something. So, it's 6 months' time, we'll do another one of these. That'd be great.
Yeah, in half a year's time, she'll crank out another one, and it'll totally be worth it. I'm going to pre-cringe right now. So.
I don't even cringe anymore. I just kind of shrug and go, well, that's Anita. She doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about.
But Sargon, it says something, though. You definitely had to get, quite a few drinks in you to get through two of her videos.
No, that's true. I really did have to get a lot of drinks into me.
I on the other hand, I'm working with nothing. I've endured. I had my cat sit beside me, so I guess I had some kind of aid there, so that's cool.
That's probably not enough, though, let's be honest.
No, not really.
No.
Purring cat does not help.
But, right, okay, well, yeah, thanks, guys, for joining me. I really appreciate it. And
yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I hope you've had fun.
It was nice to meet you, Alpha Omega.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad I actually got to shoot the shit with you finally, because we have not gotten to do this in video form or streaming form or audio form, whatever form fuckery and all that, in a very Nazi way.
See, I'm really lucky, man. I get to talk to like loads of cool people from all across the spectrum.
I'm actually quite jealous of you, Sargon. You talked to some pretty cool motherfuckers.
And did you get tweeted out by Richard Dawkins?
Yes.
Oh, fuck you.
Well, his foundation, not
Yeah,
him.
but you didn't get him no platformed in your face.
No. He's never. He's never publicly retweeted anything of mine.
Yeah, but you didn't ruin his career, so you know.
Yeah, that's true. You've outdone me, sir.
Oh man, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, this whole thing is just insane. But have you seen Salon.com's reaction to it? They wrote like 3 articles saying how you're not the victim, Richard. You're not the victim here. And it's like, well, I think he actually might be. You know, I mean, he does seem to be on the receiving end of an arse kicking, metaphorically at least.
I love how you have to have the right opinions to belong to atheist organizations now. It's so sad.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it?
So sad. I wanted to get away from doing like solely atheist-related content, but like it keeps dragging me back in. You know.
Man, I watched on the subject. I watched Steve Shives' You Had to Ask, and I don't necessarily hate watch Steve Shives, but I watch really more in sort of It's like a slow motion train wreck. I like seeing him have to talk about feminism because he does it really badly, and he obviously there is a trigger there for him. As soon as he starts talking about anti-feminists, I'm not naming any names or anything. I'm not saying that me and you, maybe skeptic, are involved in this. But as soon as he starts talking about people who are like critical of feminism, there's something that happens to his eyes and his tone of voice, and he starts getting very vehement. But it's just very short, and it's just like, wow, Steve, that this is kind of getting a bit pathological. Let's slow down. Let's calm down. It's not as bad. It's called criticism, and it's just a little thing. You can try it sometime. It's okay. It's okay. I kind of feel bad, to be honest, man.
I agree. He's actually kind of a tragic character. I feel really bad for him.
Yeah, he actually is a tragic character.
Yeah, I was trying to be really respectful to him in my reply, and
I should have been maybe.
They're just outlandish. They're just outlandish, the things that he says. So.
Yeah. And I love the way in this latest video it's just like, well, I don't think that people who oppose feminism I don't think you should engage with them, and it's like, yeah, but Steve, that's why we're winning. It's because you guys kind of clam up and you like refuse to talk, and then we just carry on talking unopposed by the people who are supposed to oppose us. It's like, this is why it's not just that. It's also because you guys are fucking crazy and wrong. But like, you would have a lot better. I really think they'd do a lot better on like the public stage if they would at least try and defend their ideas. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
everybody should defend everybody should speak up and say something. Everybody's got a voice for a reason.
Yeah.
And when everybody thinks that, well, silence is golden and that's the best way to fight because that takes away from everything, like, no, that means your opposition doesn't have to deal with any kind of hurdles. They go unopposed, and then they become the majority.
Yeah, and literally that's what we're saying. I mean, like, someone tweeted this to me earlier, and this is from the 70s, where like just under 60% of people said, yeah, I consider myself feminist. I mean, now we're about here, where less than 20% of people, probably in America this is, but it's broadly representative of like Britain and Australia. Well, it's just this downward trend where people are like, no.
So what we're seeing here is that feminism is on its way out, and it's going out kicking and screaming.
Yeah. You're all misogynists. You're all man babies. Oh, look at the tears.
Rape apologists.
Yeah. MRA scum. I love how many MRAs feminism has created. Just like
no, and that's the thing is, I speak critically of the MRA because I feel sometimes it is in some ways.
There's without a doubt things to criticize within the men's rights movement, without a doubt.
But But I do see the MRA for what it is, what it is it's a natural response to an overcorrection. Like basically it's an overcorrection to an issue.
Yeah.
And like I understand why they exist, and I have no reason to say that. Like, I don't think feminism needs to die, and I don't think MRAs need the men's rights movement needs to go away in any way. I can't remember where I was going with that.
Well, I think they need to start cooperating. That's the thing, because
that is 100% what I think. Is if they really believe that they're both for equality, then they should stop. Trying to fight each other so much and try to maybe join forces on.
But honestly, I really have to wonder. I mean, the thing is, I can't see a ton. I mean, I think there would be a lot of MRAs who, if they were given the opportunity, they would say, "Look, we are willing to cooperate with feminists." But I don't think there are very many feminists who are willing to cooperate with MRAs.
No, and that is the problem. That is the one thing that I would say the feminists are definitely worse at. Is being willing to be humble enough to even just be in the same room as somebody who has a different opinion from them.
But that would open up the entire room for debate, and that's something that a lot of them can't do. They need to be able to just say what they need to say without anything else being brought up. It doesn't matter how inaccurate they are, it doesn't matter how full of shit they are, it doesn't matter how insane some of the notions and the ideas that they bring forward are. It's just that they need to go and say them so the other ones can sit there and cluck and clap and nod in approval and then spread that around as if it is...
Yeah, maintain the echo chamber and the narrative.
Oh yeah, and it gets out of control because you have so many people out there in the world, and not just pertaining strictly and exclusively to this, but there's many people out there that do not want to think for themselves and will not think for themselves. They find whatever person sounds like they're making the most sense, and they gravitate towards them. They find the charismatic people. They find the worldly people. They find the ones that just seem like they got their shit together.
People like Anita Sarkeesian. She presents a very tidy, very compact, feminist ideological position, and I can see why a lot of people got behind it. The problem that Sarkeesian had is that she was making empirical claims. She was making claims about video games that people could confirm or deny and prove. But sorry, Karen.
And she's still doing that now.
Ooh.
I mean, even in the video about butts,
of course.
She had made so many claims as if she was talking on behalf of.
Yeah.
And when you're making a video, you have to always realize, unless you are bringing up cold hard facts, figures, you do not ever say "we" over and over again. You do not sit there and act as though you're the representative of people that never voted for you.
Or make these ridiculous generalizations like women's butts are always uncovered, but men's butts are always covered. They go to great lengths to cover men's butts.
And saying how we play games and what we're into. I hate to go and burst her goddamn fucking bubble here, but I can tell you tons of different chicks that I know who aren't gay or even bisexual, but they'll see a nice chick's ass and be like, hey, that's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I guess they're a part of that group of guys who have this whole entire time just been groomed by the mass media machine that's been churning out all this stuff and turning us into the sex monsters that we are. Also, Sex Monster sounds like a good band name. So
that actually does sound like a good band name. But right, okay. Yeah, I guess
that's as good a note as any to end on.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. So if anyone does create a band called Sex Monster, send me something. I want to hear it. Yes. Right. Take it easy, everyone. Bye.
Bye.